Hey there, We Can't Wrestle podcast listeners. If you haven't noticed, we have switched our server to Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, and it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Highly recommended by me and everybody else here at the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Hey, this is a national treasure and the real world's champion, Nick Aldis. And just when you thought that every possible wrestling podcast name in the world was taken, Nate comes in with a clinch with the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Based on Nate's unbelievable level of praise for me, I would go ahead and say that Nate sounds like a knowledgeable, smart, trustworthy human being, and his expertise should be lauded and appreciated by all of the listeners of the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
You're listening to the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Now it's time for our host, Nate Matson.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to the latest edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast. Nate Maxon here with you, and I am joined by my three awesome co-hosts, my brother Aaron.
Hey.
Mr. Kyle Army.
Well, now they know you're lying. It's two awesome and one mediocre.
And the king of all admins, Mr. Archie Mitchell, is here.
Hey, if I have to be mediocre, I'm going to be the best mediocre guy on the show.
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about me.
Oh, well, I can't let you sit there in the wind.
I thought you were talking about Aaron.
Fuck off. I'm the talent, man.
This week, all of us being in our 30s or 40s, there I go, I'm the ancient one here, but our 30s or 40s here on the show, all of us have been fans, obviously, our entire lives, or since he debuted, of The Undertaker. And he debuted in 1990. It's been 30 years of the dead man, and I know WWE is beating us over the head with it this month, which is not a bad thing, but we decided we're going to do that on our show as well this week. Just a little retrospect of the 30 years of the greatest character, the greatest gimmick in the history of professional wrestling. Not the greatest wrestler of all time, but I don't think anybody can deny that it is the greatest gimmick, the greatest character of all time.
Hey,
I will disagree with you, though. I don't think it's a great thing that they're beating it over our head. Because it's just like any other time. It's like they're sitting there and they're like, oh, here's all these stars. Here's Shinsuke Nakamura dressed up as The Undertaker. Here's Jeff Hardy dressed. It's like, remember how good it used to be, guys?
Yeah, they do that. Wow. I kind of, to be honest with you, I've gotten over that. It is. I've gotten to the point where I've accepted that it is what it is at this point.
The good part about it, though, is it's not like it's June. It's November. It's Survivor Series time, so at least they're doing it on his actual anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if this was like midsummer and we were getting ready for SummerSlam, like, it's Undertaker's 30th anniversary. No, it's not. Stop it. You know,
cut it out.
I do get what Kyle's saying, though, that it should be a little more organic.
I agree.
Like, it was like, okay, and I know this isn't, well, it's still technically modern, but it's like when Randy died, you know, like hung for a month for that, like Randy Savage-esque like outfit. You know, it wasn't like he wasn't beating it. He wasn't out there going like, oh yeah, or anything like that. He's like, I'll wear the Randy shit, and that'll be my little tribute to him, and be done with it. You know, it's like, so I get what Kyle's saying. Like the Jeff Hardy thing. It's like, the WWE told him, hey, let's dress you up like the Undertaker.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
And I think by them showing him this much love, they're hoping to get the fans behind it as much as possible, in hopes that maybe he'll go one more match, which we all know he will. Because
He'll
this is about to be
going to work at the Survivor Series.
Survivor Series is going to set up an angle going into WrestleMania, I think.
Which I would hope is with only one of two people. It either needs to be The Fiend, and we need the final, matchup, and let The Fiend and Undertaker go at it in some kind of cinematic match. That I would accept, because both of them deserve that. Or it needs to be Sting, and I know that's bad because both of them are old and it's not what we wanted. But let him go out on top facing Sting.
Well, and here's the thing. I think they're going to have, whatever they do, there's going to have to be they're going to be doing WrestleMania inside the Thunderdome.
Right.
It's going to be a cinematic match because guess what? The shit ain't fucking dying down.
Nope. We might be getting locked down again.
Yeah. Real quick, I just want to say this. Don't want to take up too much time here, but look, I found out before we came on the show that a friend I worked with a lot of years, she was a good person, she passed away from COVID. And without getting too much details, because I don't want to get into the family and everything for their privacy and stuff, but she worked at a store. And this right here is a perfect example of why. Wear your fucking masks.
Mm-hmm.
I understand you want to be Billy Badass and you want to prove to everybody, I don't need a mask. Guess what? It ain't about you. It's about protecting everyone else around us, because this person would probably still be alive if she hadn't caught COVID.
Right.
And I'm sick and tired of hearing people say, it's no worse than the flu. The flu kills all these people. This is true, but we have a vaccine for the flu. And two, if anybody dies, I don't care if it's one person, two people, or 5 million, anybody who dies because of this, it's unfortunate and it doesn't need to happen.
I see people online all the time posting crap about I haven't been affected by it. It's a hoax. It's a conspiracy. It's a blah blah blah. Let me tell you, Kyle just gave you an example. And earlier this year, back in September, my wife's grandmother died of COVID. I mean, and granted, she had congestive heart failure, but she had that for years. But catching COVID compounded that. And that's the point. The point is, like Kyle said, it ain't about you. It's about our families. It's about the elderly people. It's Aaron and I have a 96-year-old grandma, and because we work with the public, when I go to her house, I feel the need to wear a mask in her house because I don't know what. I mean, I could probably I have a great immune system. I could probably power through COVID like nobody's business. But she's 96 years old. I don't know what I'm taking there. And that's the point. That's the entire point. And to what Kyle said, it's not about you. Don't be selfish.
Right.
Just do what they're asking. It's not a big deal. It's not,
And the other thing is,
no shirt, no shoes, no service. You've adhered to that forever. What's the difference?
I don't talk about it a lot. But people are like, I don't like to wear the mask. Like, nobody likes to wear the mask.
Right.
If we all like to wear a mask, we would have already been doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And believe me,
I don't like to wear pants. If I just walk around with no pants on, I'd do it. But nobody wants to see my balls. And nobody wants your COVID. So your balls are like COVID.
Believe me, everybody, Aaron and I definitely can attest to this. You don't like to wear the mask, and we get that, while you're shopping in the store for 10 minutes. Both of us wear the fucking thing 10 hours a day.
Yep.
So don't talk to me about I don't like to wear it.
Mask is just like pants.
And
eventually somebody was like, hey, Orc, we really hate seeing your balls. It's making us all uncomfortable. And it's honestly making us kind of sick. Can you put on these pants? And he was like, these are super uncomfortable. But after about a year, he got used to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And here's the other thing, guys.
So just wear the fucking mask.
If we are headed towards a lockdown, don't fucking go in and hog all the goddamn toilet paper and hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
Fucking leave some for everybody else, man.
Or do like I do. Do like I do and subscribe to toilet paper on Amazon.
Yes.
They send me a box of toilet paper every month.
The argument that
the life hack for that is just buy a bunch of coffee filters.
The only argument that I have with to put towards the mask. People are like, this isn't going to help me not get COVID. No, it's not. Again, like Nate said, it's not about you. It's to prevent you from possibly giving it to somebody.
Exactly.
Even if you don't have it, but you were in contact with someone who did, you now have it on your body, on your clothing, on your skin, and you may take it with you wherever you go. And nobody wants to get it. It's not fun. It's even if you, like Nate said, we're younger people, we have good immune systems. It may just be like a flu to us. Okay, great. But do any of us four want to sit in our bed or in the hospital for 2 and 3 weeks and quarantine and die in pain and hack up our lungs? No.
And here's the thing, guys.
I don't want this to be a COVID episode or whatever, but I told somebody this the other day. There's a few instances where I can say you don't have to wear the mask. Okay, and I'm a masker. I wear my mask. But it's gyms, casinos, and bars. And the reason I say that is because you don't have to go to a gym, you don't have to go to a casino, and you don't have to go to a bar. So if you go to the gym, the casino, or the bar, and you contract COVID, that's your fault.
Right.
Because you chose to go there. But like if you go to the grocery store or a Walmart or a whatever, those are places you have to go because you need that shit.
Right.
So people should have to wear the masks. You know, if it's not like an optional place to go.
Also, to that point, elderly people are probably not going to be in the bar. Well, or the gym. Well, you know what I'm saying. There's always the old fox. Why I'm just saying, like,
why'd everybody look at me? Hey.
And here's the thing. Like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'll put it out there. I'm diabetic, so I am at risk.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know, and I've talked to my doctors who are very damn good doctors, and they have said 2 people wearing a mask, maintaining 6 feet. Guess what? It puts the risk down significantly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This works. I don't care what you saw on YouTube. I don't care what your fucking neighbor's friend told you. Go by what an actual fucking doctor who went to college and knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Right.
Yep. I'm gonna end this on this note. If you ignore science, you're a fucking idiot. All right. Now I'm going to go on a little rant, and then Aaron has 3 gimmicks for us, and then we will talk about the Undertaker.
Candy. I thought we were talking about candy.
Candy.
You promised me candy.
Candy.
I can't
That's what Kyle does.
Here's my rant.
He promises people candy.
I do. Because I can't eat it anymore myself, so I got to give it away.
It doesn't have to be from a windowless van in a dark alley.
Listen. Don't shit on my delivery methods.
As long as
do it.
As long as it's good candy, what does it matter how he delivers it?
Just because I went and got the Ice Cream Man song put on the top, like a speaker put on the top of my van, and it fucking plays the Ice Cream Man song. Doesn't mean anything. Don't quit making it out to be something more than it is.
And to Kyle's credit, when the song doesn't play, he sits there and sings it.
I do. So. I'm like, do.
I want to give you guys 2 names, and I want to tell you what I want you to tell me what these 2 names have in common.
Okay.
Sergeant Slaughter and the Junkyard Dog.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. That's not what I'm looking for, but you're right.
Wrestled in 3 decades, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Also right, but not what I'm looking for.
They are 2 guys that may not have been the best in-ring competitors, but their characters fucking went way above and beyond anything in the in-ring.
All fantastic answers. What I was looking for is those are 2 guys that are not in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. But do you know who is now in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame?
Okay. Yes.
Kenny fucking Omega. What the fuck kind of world? Sports entertainment. It should be the Sports Entertainment Observer now. Kenny Omega in the hall. Kenny Omega, and I hate to steal a joke from me and Aaron's dad, but Kenny Omega shouldn't be allowed in the Hall of Fame with a fucking ticket. This guy.
That's what my dad said about Sting when they put him in the Hall of Fame.
I thought he said it about John Madden.
No, he might have said it about Madden, but he said when they put Sting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he said I wouldn't let Sting in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame get a fucking ticket. and then they put him again. They put him in again with the police, and they was like, "Fuck, it's in there twice."
Goddamn sons of bitches.
But go ahead, sorry.
Kenny Omega has. I don't know that he ever will, because first of all, he's not a wrestler; he's a dancer. He's Fred Astaire. He is less Harley Race and more Fred Astaire. And to put him in any wrestling Hall of Fame, especially at this point, the guy had, all right, okay, let me just say this. I concede all the time that in New Japan Pro Wrestling a few years ago at a couple of Wrestle Kingdom pay-per-views or whatever, Okada led Kenny Omega through some pretty awesome. Well, okay, the matches in and of themselves were an hour long and had probably 7 minutes of really good highlights. I mean, you watch the whole match; it ain't that great.
Rick Rude got Ultimate Warrior with some good matches.
Exactamundo, Brett. That is exactly what I'm saying. Look at the big brain on Aaron. That's what I'm talking about. This fucking Omega guy is a joke. He is an absolute joke. He is. I would rather watch El Gigante than I would watch Kenny Omega, because El Gigante was at least a fucking attraction. He looked
interesting.
Yes, there was something interesting about him. Kenny Omega dresses like a dope. He wrestles like an idiot. He's stupid. I don't know if he's stupid. He may be intellectually superior to me. I don't care about that.
Stupid.
But for him to be...
His droopy face makes him look stupid.
Especially at this point, for him to be in any Hall of Fame. And by the way, just a side note, now all the wrestling goobers that circle jerk over AEW and shit and jerk each other off about it, that question the legitimacy of the WWE Hall of Fame, they can suck my fucking big white cock, because it is out the window, man. That is their argument for anything from the WWE Hall of Fame being illegitimate is out the window, because they voted Kenny Omega into their Hall of Fame.
Well, here's the thing, though. We're talking about fucking Dave Meltzer.
Right. I was just about to say that.
But and I was going to say...
And I've made this joke before to Nate, okay? Like, the Observer people, they are whatever, when the people knock the WWE Hall of Fame, they say, oh, the WWE Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame. They don't even have a building. And I told Nate, I was like, the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame doesn't even have a fucking banquet.
Right. It's just a magazine. It just comes out, right? Like, here. Okay, thanks.
And I understand it's not Dave Meltzer. I mean, people vote. There are people that vote.
People that he lets vote.
However, he puts the person on the ballot.
And not only that, but like, I don't know if you guys listened to the Bruce Pritchard podcast about Goldust.
Nope.
It's very good. It's 5 hours. It's very, very good.
Jesus.
But throughout the entire podcast, of course, if you guys have ever listened, I mean, for all the fans who haven't listened to it, basically what he does is he goes through the Observer from the Times and everything else. And there is so much shitting on Dustin Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, immense. Even when the times when he got his shit straight and everything else, like Dave Meltzer shit on Goldust for no reason, because he just didn't like it. Right there, it shows you there is somebody who is letting his personal feelings dictate what true talent is. Because guess what, guys? You know, there's a reason why myself, Aaron, Nate, and Archie aren't running a fucking, a Hall of Fame. We have a Hall of Shame, but I don't think anybody will fucking disagree with that.
But it's all for comedy, and it's all opinion, and there's nothing serious about it.
If Dave Meltzer came out and said, these are my opinions, fine. But when he states shit as fact, then people who have no brains sit there and they go, oh, well, goddamn, that's how I must think.
If Meltzer says it, it must be true.
Well, that's the thing. People have given Dave Meltzer way too much credibility, and no one seems to realize that 20 years ago, people looked at Dave Meltzer kind of the way they look at Michael Cole, a very annoying person. And over the last 20 years, he got this credibility because of his match ratings that everyone hangs on his every word. See, I will agree with Nate on this. Kenny Omega should not be in a Hall of Fame. Not because of why or what he does. That's neither here nor there. You guys know I'm a Kenny Omega fan. But because, number one, he's still way too young in his career. And number two, in the last 2.5 to 3 years, he hasn't really done anything to prove himself anymore since his last match with Okada. So this was really for no reason for them to put him in the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. But to Aaron's credit, it's not really a Hall of Fame. It's a magazine, and they voted on who to put in. So I don't even think Kenny cared about it that much. Like, I didn't see him tweet about it or say anything that great about it.
Oh, he'll probably add it to his fucking entrance video.
Oh, probably.
But two facts I want to give you guys real quick.
That was a good fucking joke.
One, let's talk about Dave Meltzer's fucking star system. He gave a 5-star to the first Hell in a Cell match.
Yep.
That's a phenomenal match. But it had a non-finish.
Right.
Can I tell you also?
Aaron, don't say anything about non-finishers.
I know, but it had Kane rip off the fucking thing. So right there, you're going to tell me that's a 5-star match? I fucking disagree. Two, the only Hall of Fame that I truly recognize, because like I said, WWE's Hall of Fame, it's sports entertainment. It is what it is. But the Cauliflower Ear Club.
Cauliflower Ear
Club.
Yeah.
That is but
the Kali Oxenfree Hall of Fame.
Kyle's so pissed off about this, he stroked out.
That is the actual Hall of Fame that actually means something.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And I'm going to wrap it up, but I had to bring it up because I think that
I wish Kenny Omega's dad would have done that. Wrapped it up.
He probably did, but Kenny's a fighter.
Yeah, fuck, he's a fighter.
It was first.
He's a flipper. Fuck. I've never seen that guy be in anything that looked like a real goddamn fight ever, and that's the problem.
Oh, come on. That fight with the 8-year-old Chinese girl was awesome.
Her name is Sunny Kiss.
Can't even say that with a straight face.
All right, Aaron has some gimmicks for us. Thank you, everybody, for indulging me in my little rant there.
And then we'll take a smoke break.
Yes, we will take a break, and then we'll get into...
I will say this. This is the first time I agree with Nate when it comes to kind of bashing Kenny Omega here, though. It really is not deserved. And I think it's just Dave Meltzer. And people always make this joke that Dave Meltzer is on the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes' payroll. Now with AEW, I feel he's on Tony Khan's payroll.
Well, and I think, I think he's just like Jericho and Matt Hardy at this point. He just wants to be hip with the young kid. So he's ruining his legacy to be hip with the young kid.
Have you ever seen Tony Khan's dad?
Yes.
He looks like he made his money off like old-timey train robberies.
Have you ever seen Tony Khan's brother, Shere Khan?
This guy
over here.
All right,
Aaron has his gimmicks for us now.
All right, these are 3 jobbers that are joining my federation. They're going to lose to Tranny Hodge and a couple WWF or whatever. I'll give you the description, and then I'll tell you the wrestler. This wrestler can't hold a tune or write any original music of his own, and he is a favorite of Japanese businessmen.
Oh, God.
You know what his name is?
Karaoke
Von Erich.
No. Dang.
Karaoke Von Erich.
How does he sing with only one foot?
There's a tear in my beer.
He fucking leans into it.
Hey-o!
Yeah. Karaoke on air.
I like it.
All right. Due to his few unhealthy blood cells, he frequently gets fatigued and is quickly and easily defeated.
Is it anemic McFoley? Is it anemic Foley?
No, it's
Oh.
iron deficiency Mike Sharp.
Oh my god.
I gotta go to bed.
Iron deficiency, Mike Sharp. I also, actually, though, I gotta give Archie kudos on anemic Foley.
You
like that as well.
Goddamn beef. I'm not that part. All right, I got one more.
All right.
No, I
This
can't say it.
wrestler is easily defeated due to his narcolepsy.
Hold on. Thinking here.
They're
I
going to
don't-
have a fight in the sickle cell.
Sickle hell in a cell.
Sickle cell in a hell or something, yeah.
All right. So what's the name of this doctor? This sleepy
His
guy.
name is Darren Dozoff.
Oh no. Oh no.
That gimmick makes me want to puke.
So who's the best one?
I liked the first one.
Yeah, me too.
Karaoke on air?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought of this on my break at work. It was fun.
All right. Well, that being said, we will take a break. Oh, go ahead, Kyle.
I just had this vision of Eric or of Aaron sitting at work. They're like, "How's those fucking reports coming?" He's like, "Karaoke Von Eric."
I knew it real shit.
Yeah, ain't nobody got time for that.
Fuck your P&L. I'm trying to come up with shitty gimmicks.
These are gold.
Well, I can see by the way
Gold,
you're
Gary,
laughing.
gold.
I can see by the way you're laughing, Aaron. I'm not fired. Oh no, you're fired. I'm just kidding about you.
He's like, "What's that disease called where you just randomly fall asleep? Hurry, tell me." Narcolepsy? You got it. You're still fired, though.
You're still
You're
fired.
still fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, get your shit out and go.
Take your shit and go.
Get your shit, dummy.
Get your shoe. Yeah, get your shit, dummy. Get out of here. And your shoe, too. Take your shoe with you, too. All right, that being said, we will take a break real quick here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast. And when we return, we will discuss 30 years of The Undertaker. We'll be right back.
30 years and 30 minutes.
All right, wrestling fans, welcome back to the We Can't Wrestle podcast, episode number 113. And this week, again, as we stated earlier during the beginning of the show, we're going to talk about 30 years of The Undertaker. Not going to cover the Mean Mark days, not going to cover the Texas Red days, none of that, because we're talking about just the Undertaker gimmick, the Undertaker character in the WWF, WWE, throughout the years, some memories, kind of run down his career. Because, like I said, I mean, we're all of the generation that, I mean, we're the Undertaker generation. You know, there was there was the Bruno generation. You know, there was the, I mean, in Texas,
Andre the Giant.
Yeah, the Texas, there was the Fritz Von Erich generation, etc. I'm just talking about these guys that lasted a long time and had a huge impact on the business. And for us, it's the Undertaker. You know, there might be some older listeners listening going, what about Eddie Graham? All right, but he died before I was alive, I think.
And I brought up, which he didn't, but I brought up Andre the Giant, and I brought that up for a reason. that I know we were all alive for Andre the Giant, but we weren't.
We missed his
alive.
best days.
We were alive for the end of Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
The Undertaker is our Andre the Giant.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, because
I agree.
like you said, I mean, we were.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, like, kids now, they might watch it and they see like I'm not disparaging the guy, but they see when Taker works, he's not, the Undertaker anymore.
Well,
it's like you guys are seeing a 55-year-old guy that has been doing this for 30 fucking years. That's what we saw with Andre.
And that was just
I
the
would never say
Undertaker for
Andre
30
the Giant.
years.
Yeah, like I would never say, I saw the greatest match I ever saw involved Andre the Giant.
Nope.
But there was a time when Andre the Giant was doing drop kicks.
Mm-hmm.
He was doing leapfrogs. He did all that shit, and then Taker's basically our generation's Andre the Giant.
Yes.
Think about the Undertaker in the sense of that. Here's a guy, he came into the WWF at the time when they were putting gimmicks on everybody, and for all intents and purposes, the Undertaker is a stupid fucking gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Because think about it, really, like the Undertaker, like it's a Old West Undertaker. It's it's cheesy, it's goofy. It was designed for nothing more than for a throwaway for Hulk Hogan.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That character was designed to be there for a year,
right?
Do the thing with Hogan at the next Survivor Series, and then eventually just fade away, just like all the other killer heel gimmicks did.
And he took it serious.
Mm-hmm.
Never broke kayfabe. Never let himself be anything else than the Undertaker. And the credit needs to go to him. That in a world of like crushes and a world of Duke the Dumpster, Doink the Clown,
Damien Demento,
Friar Furry, whatever. It doesn't
His
matter.
brother, the dentist.
Yeah. Undertaker was able to surpass that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't think of anybody else that has had that kind of gimmick. Because think about it, like seriously, like this, it would be like the Boogeyman.
The only other guy that I will say had I'm not going to in any way compare him to the Undertaker, but the only other Boss Man, yes, touche. So too, because the only other guy I was going to say that had a gimmick that lasted a really long time that maybe shouldn't have was Kamala.
Yeah.
He had a very cartoony, goofy kind of gimmick, and he made it work too. But I mean,
but like with Boss Man, he left WWF and went to WCW and became Big Bubba and everything else.
Right.
Undertaker has been there from fucking 1990.
Well, I know. I was just saying, I was just saying, like a cartoonish type gimmick that shouldn't have been anything. It's fucking Boss Man and the Undertaker, and like Nate said, Kamala.
And think about it seriously, like really and truly, like if you watch pro wrestling, and you watch, if you're used to like the Southern style wrestling where it's fucking 60 minutes, Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat and everything else, and then you watch the Undertaker, it's to you you're gonna be like, the fuck is this? Like it's such a goofy, silly. Even Paul Bearer should have been a goofy, silly, gimmick, but god damn, did he fucking make you believe it? Like that to me is the biggest piece of credit. I mean, how can you not say that he's the greatest of all time?
And even without the taking the goofy aspect out of it, Mark Calloway, the Undertaker, did, how do I want to say it? He took a gimmick and did less in the ring and made more than any other fucking human being could ever do.
Mm-hmm.
While also making other stars.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. The Undertaker debuted in 1990, and as a child, 9-year-old, yeah, he was scary. As I got older, he got scarier though. That was the funny part, because he was throwing lightning bolts and making things burst into flames. He was torturing Vince McMahon and burning a bear. You know what I mean? He got more vicious. But then as his career continued to transcend, look, Elegante in WCW, Nate, you mentioned it earlier. He was an attraction there. They brought him in as this badass, although he was dressed like a buffoon in Giant Gonzalez, but The Undertaker put him over for a bit. Same thing with Great Khali. Same thing with Vader. Same thing with Kane. You mentioned Kane. Before he was Kane, The Undertaker's brother, he was stealing somebody's personality and becoming Diesel. He was a dentist, and he was the Unabomber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then because he became Kane, The Undertaker's brother, and they had such great chemistry, it worked and it clicked, and Kane made a career out of it.
Right.
For me,
And like I said, with the making the more with less thing, Mark Calloway took a career and extended it, and this is like an insignificant thing, but where like a Shawn Michaels, I'm not knocking Shawn Michaels, where like Shawn Michaels might have to have a match where he has to have like 4 or 5, 6, 7 near kickouts. Mark Calloway took his career, and all he had to do was fucking sit up.
Right. Right.
for
All he had to
me,
do was just sit up.
I'm going to give you my personal feeling of Undertaker, because it's kind of like Archie. Like, I was a young kid when Undertaker first showed up. And, you know, it was scary as fuck. It was like, holy shit, like, this guy's undead. This guy is, you know, kind of killed a little bit when I saw Suburban Commando, because...
Hi, Kyle!
Yeah, like, I mean, it is funny, though. It's funny for what it is. But, like, as Undertaker evolved, like, you know, it's kind of like one of those guys I grew up with, where, you know, like, as he turned into the more, you know, Lord of Darkness, it was like, this is coming of age when I discovered, like, you know, Black Sabbath and death metal. So it was like, oh, this guy's fucking cool.
Right.
Into the badass Undertaker, you know, as, you know, you're trying to discover yourself.
And to take it back to the beginning, the debut of The Undertaker. I remember at the time, now this is going to sound crazy, but going around my school, okay, so the hype was Ted DiBiase's $1 million team. He's going to have a mystery partner on his team. The hype going around my school, and people might go, what? When they hear it, was that it was going to be not it, because nobody knew what the fucking Undertaker was going to be. Like, that was a surprise, a complete surprise.
Right.
The word going around my school between us all 11 and 12-year-olds that we had heard from teenagers and stuff or whatever was that it was going to be Shane Douglas, because Shane Douglas at that time was young. It was a young up-and-comer, and he would actually be in the Royal Rumble in 91, so a couple of months later, and he had been on some of the TV tapings. And so anyway, then that being said...
I don't know why. I thought... I was thinking back when I was talking about this, I don't know why, but for some reason, Little Me honestly thought it was going to be Butch Reed.
Well, because he had ties to the Survivor Series and to the WWF in the past, so it might have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and my biggest memories of his debut at this point now, you know, come from the commentary. First of all, Roddy Piper, look at that ham hock. Yeah. And then Gorilla, about a minute and a half into the match, Taker hits Coco with a tombstone. And Gorilla goes, he hit him with a tombstone. And Piper goes, a what? I think he calls it a tombstone. Like, he wasn't supposed to. I don't think he was supposed to.
Yeah, Gorilla had too much information.
Yeah, exactly. I think he calls it a tombstone. That's my guess. I don't know.
What the fuck do I know?
You look at we mentioned the character transcending and turning into something different. The tombstone, when he delivered it to Coco Beware, looked deadly.
Yeah.
I could have sworn, even till today, when I go back and watch the match, I'm like, how is Coco Beware still alive? You know what I mean? Because he literally landed on his head. And now you look at the way You look at the way that when he hoists the guy up now, he's not holding their arm anymore. He's got them by the waist and the chest, and he's making sure he's protecting them, because we all know what happened with Owen Hart and Steve Austin, and has happened with other wrestlers. They only trust the Undertaker and Kane to do that move anymore.
I remember, when Taker finally fought against Hogan, Taker's like, I'm gonna bury all the Hulkamaniacs and everything else. Like, I remember, my dad, Dad, he's gonna fucking kill Hulk Hogan. I was fucking terrified, man. I was like, and it was one of those things that, looking back, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the suspending disbelief because we didn't know we had to.
Yeah,
right. We were in disbelief.
No one told me that wrestling was the work until I was, fucking probably 12 or 13.
Now, see, Kyle, as an adult now, when I go back and watch that match, Undertaker and Hogan, and no longer being a Hulkamaniac because I stopped being one of those when I was
Flair
12.
With the chair.
Flair puts the chair, Taker does the tombstone, and wouldn't you know it, Hogan still had to try to kick out at 2.5, 3.
Yep.
Like you couldn't even put him over when it was being done in a dirty deed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He still
and
had
Hogan,
to try to kick out.
And in reality, Hogan actually, I think it's funny they said bury the Undertaker, but in reality, in the locker room, Hogan buried Taker for that and said that Taker actually fucked up his neck and fucked up that tombstone.
Although when you watch
and that's why to this day, you don't hear Mark Calloway say a lot of good shit about.
Yeah, he doesn't speak. He doesn't speak of reverence. He doesn't speak with reverence of.
He said
he doesn't
Hogan
even mention him
unless it's brought up. But he said Hogan tried to bury him in that locker room, and he doesn't I think he's even got more.
I was going
to disdain for him than Steve Austin does.
Well, I was going to say also, I think that even though he was a colossal pain in the ass, from everything I understand and from everything I've observed from Undertaker's interviews and stuff, I think he has more respect for Shawn Michaels than he does.
Yeah, because Shawn,
right.
Shawn could actually say something about Taker fucking him up in that casket match, but Shawn never blamed Undertaker.
Never said it one time.
But Hogan fucking went. From like I said, I wasn't in there, but if you listen to Undertaker talk about it, he said Hogan went into that locker room and said, "Mark dropped me on my head."
Still
pisses Mark off?
Was there a more amazing? Just kind of moving through here, that as we go through his career, it makes me think of shit. Going through the Hogan thing and all that with the title, was there a more perfect person to turn Undertaker's character babyface than Jake fucking Roberts?
No, it was. It was. You look at the way that whole storyline played out, from Undertaker putting Warrior in a casket, Warrior trying to dig through, and when they opened it, all the stuffing was on Warrior. And then Jake Roberts toying with the Warrior to teach him how to beat the Undertaker, but then he turned on Warrior, and now they're friends.
Following up to hit Elizabeth with the chair.
I was about to say, following up one of the greatest rivalries they ever did in that company, Jake Roberts and Randy Savage.
Right.
Jake Roberts' character being such a son of a bitch that he is waiting behind the curtain to hit Elizabeth with a steel chair, and Undertaker is the one to stop him.
Right.
I mean, Aaron and I dog a lot on Jake Roberts as a person, because as a person, he's a complete
shitty human being.
But I will never deny that he's one of the best heels ever, one of the best psychologists ever.
Oh, without a doubt.
And I'll never deny his talent.
And this might be stupid too, but that was kind of cool too, because like NWA did and WCW did, but WWF at the time, they didn't do a lot of shit where it was like behind the curtain.
Right.
You know what I mean? You didn't see a lot of shit like that in WWF.
And here's the thing, like with Undertaker turning babyface, it's that whole adage of like, you want to cheer for Jason, you want to cheer for the Terminator, you want to cheer for Freddy, and it's that the bad guys are always the coolest,
mm-hmm.
Right?
And so finally you have him turn good. You're like, oh, fuck, I can finally cheer for this guy. Like, he's doing good shit. Like, you know, and that was the thing. They didn't change Taker's character. He was still, the undead mortician. It's just he was going after the bad guys.
Right.
Exactly. And that's the mark of a really good character is whether they're a heel or a face, they're essentially the same character.
Right.
The Rock, even to an extent, and I don't want to get deep in the woods here, but even to an extent, was there really a huge difference between Hulk Hogan and Hollywood Hulk Hogan?
No, there wasn't.
I mean, Hulk Hogan, babyface Hulk Hogan was a heel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. He grew a beard and colored it black. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
he still talked about how great he was, and everybody worshipped me. Everybody worshipped me. Listen to what I'm telling you. I'm telling you the best way to live your life.
Right.
I know we're talking about Undertaker, but Undertaker turning here and protecting Liz is kind of like Steve Austin in like '99 protecting Stephanie.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, he doesn't give a shit about anything, but hey, he does have a little bit of a moral compass. Like
I know right from wrong. And
yes.
Right.
And that's why I said turning him in that with Jake was the best way to turn him face because Aaron, you put it great, right from wrong. It gave the character depth and more of a moral compass.
Right.
And it took that one side, again, we talked about it, taking this shitty gimmick, pretty much, and turning it into a multifaceted character that I can get emotionally invested in. Boy, these modern wrestlers could really learn a lot from.
Yeah, how about that? Well, and here's the other big thing. Like, when it happens, Jake's telling him, he's like, you need to tell me which side are you on? And Taker doesn't go on a fucking 15-minute diatribe on why he's, he's changed. He just says, not yours.
Right.
And that's all you needed to say. Now you would have a 15-minute fucking explanation.
And then what made it even more, which made him look human for the first time, was Jake then destroys him by trapping his hand in that coffin, beating up Paul Bearer. Now he's remorseful and trying to get the Paul Bearer. And you see this monster, maybe not a monster that much anymore. I mean, he could still turn it on, but it gave him a human side.
Talking about Jake, when he DDTs Paul Bearer, there's this fucking Saturday Night Main Event or whatever where Gene's interviewing him, it's right before WrestleMania, their match at WrestleMania 8, right, Nate?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, Gene's showing him all this shitty shit that Jake did, and he's like, he DDTs Paul Bearer, and Jake's like, oh, quick trip, bad landing.
Yeah,
great fucking line.
Yeah,
and we're talking about Undertaker, but real quick, I want to give some praise to Paul Bearer because I don't think without Paul Bearer, Taker would have ever been what he was.
Can you imagine? I don't think he would have been the same if he would have still been with Brother Love.
No,
that was goofy to begin with.
And
I made notes, and I put that there's never been a better manager wrestler package than Paul Bearer and the Undertaker.
I agree.
Do you know what the only other I agree with you.
I put one. I thought of one thing, one group, and I almost put it up above them, but I didn't. I'm going to see if you say the same thing.
You might be thinking what I'm thinking.
I was going to say, I would say number one, if I'm talking manager wrestler combo as a package, obviously Taker and Bearer are number one. Second for me is Heenan and Mr. Perfect.
That's not what I put. I put right above.
I was gonna say Heenan and Andre.
Okay.
There's only one group. There's only one manager.
Can I take a guess?
Wrestler combo. Mm-hmm. Can I say what I said? Oh, go ahead.
I want to take a guess. Liz and Macho.
Nope. There's only one.
What's
one
the right
package.
One?
There's only one package I put it's A1, AB, and it's Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, Cornette cared for them, so it made sense.
To me, I like the fact, even outside the ring, that Paul Bearer was the one that drove the Undertaker everywhere, and he was the one to get the gas.
But it's like I think of
gas.
when I think of the Undertaker, I think of Paul Bearer, And when I think of Midnight Express, I think of Jim Cornette.
Yep.
And that's why I put them A1, AB.
Now, poor Undertaker through 93 and 94 and 95.
It was rough.
The poor guy, they put him against every clumsy fucking, I mean, and God bless him, you know, I mean, what a worker, but because he got some decent matches out of some shitty.
Oh, yeah.
WrestleMania 11 should have been shit.
Yeah, but I will say this, though. As bad as some of it was.
He got a choke slam on Bundy. WrestleMania 11, he was like, we ain't doing Tombstone, brother. That shit ain't happening.
That ain't happening.
As bad as some of it was, to see him and Yoko.
Oh, yeah. No, and
that's
definitely something that I was going to mention, Kyle, is through that whole time. I mean, you talk about the best big man workers ever. Yokozuna for his size and his breadth and everything. I mean, that's a different conversation than most of the other guys that Taker was up against.
My favorite promos were the ones where they would go and they would show, Paul Bearer would be talking about, yes, my
making the casket.
Yes, yeah. Taker's sitting there building the fucking casket.
And you wouldn't see him at first. You'd hear a ting, ting, and Paul Bearer would talk over it, and then you'd get right on the face of the sweaty Undertaker building a cat. It was like, wow, I love this. I want to see more of this.
And also 1994 is the absolute, I've said this on the show before, 1994, a lot of people dog 95. I'm actually a fan of WWF 95.
I am too.
For me, other than 1999, 1994 as a whole, there are some moments like WrestleMania 10, et cetera, et cetera. But as a whole company, 94 is the most boring year in the WWF.
Oh, yeah.
And Yoko and Taker did great business. They worked great together. And people can shit on that Royal Rumble all they want, but fucking 15-year-old or 14-year-old me, I thought that shit was cool.
Seeing Taker get lifted into the rafters,
like where he looks like I look right now.
And here's the coolest thing about it: like Taker's entrance is perfect. It's kind of like with Bray Wyatt's now. It gave the fans a chance to be a part of it,
right? Because
every single time that you would hear that gong and the lights would go down, up would come those lighters.
Yep.
And I mean, God, can we give credit to Jim Johnson for that fucking theme? I mean, that is just.
Although that I love that theme. His coolest theme is the one in '98 with the guitars and shit. But we'll get to
with
that.
The Ministry of Darkness. Oh yeah,
no, not that one. The one before that. The
yeah, that's what that was essentially. It became the Ministry's music. I think.
Yeah, they slowed it. They slowed it down a little bit during that, and we'll get
chaining and stuff.
Now, see, you guys are mentioning though that Taker got in the ring with some of the clumsiest people, and I by no means mean any disrespect to Kamala, God rest his soul. Or Giant Gonzalez, God rest his soul. But essentially, Hogan leaves. And whether you want to admit it or not, Undertaker took on the role of Hogan because before then, Hogan was fighting all these guys. Bundy and all these big monsters. So it was like the Undertaker took over the Monster Slayer gimmick.
Mm-hmm. They kind of split Hogan's role after he left. They kind of gave Brett the champion role,
right?
And then they gave Taker the Slay the Beast role,
right?
And you should talk WrestleMania 9 as much as you want, but tell me there wasn't a bigger freaking eruption when Taker gets taken out by the chloroform, and then he comes coming back.
Right,
basically the dead.
What about the entrance? The crow sitting on that perch,
and Jim Ross. The chloroform comes out, and Jim Ross is like, "Oh my God, he's hitting him with the Buck Zumhofe move." But anyway, so as the WWF evolved in '96 and '97, as did the Undertaker, which is a running theme in his career. Ironically, a man who can evolve with the time, evolve with his company. Evolve his character because he has an emotional investment in it. And, 96, 97, we roll through Okay, first of all, I am a fan of his feud with Diesel going into WrestleMania 12.
I was all right. I don't mean to cut you off, Nate. I was not a fan until Diesel opened up the casket and it revealed him in the casket, because that was the first time they'd ever done anything like that. And then I was hooked to that feud, and I wanted to see what was going to happen.
The reason I like that feud is it was the first time that Kevin Nash got to be Kevin Nash.
Right.
And The Undertaker, of course, was doing his gimmick, but it was another one of those times. That feud is another time where Taker's gimmick evolved, because he feuded with Kevin Nash, who was kind of sort of shooting, because he was about to leave the company and he was being himself. So during that feud, I feel like organically Mark let more come out of himself.
Right.
Real quick, before we go any further, I want to step back real fast because we kind of glazed by it. But, as goofy as it was at SummerSlam to have Taker versus Taker,
it worked.
The fucking storyline building up to it, where Taker supposedly is bad and he's been bought by Ted DiBiase, and Paul Bearer's coming out like, "What are you doing?"
Look, it's
terrible.
Sorry,
guys.
Terrible.
It was cheesy, but it was cheesy in a good way. It was like the build, like Kyle said, the build up, and Leslie Nielsen looking for the Undertaker, and $1 Million Man saying, "I have the Undertaker," and here comes out Brian Lee, and for the most part, Brian Lee was the Undertaker. He was actually doing a damn good job. Until he got nose to nose with Mark Calloway, and we realized he's an inch and a half shorter than that son of a bitch.
The payoff is not good.
You guys know I love you, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was hot fucking garbage. It's terrible.
Oh, come on, Nate.
I'm sorry. It's just
Nate,
terrible.
When you see them head and shoulders, and you're like, "Wow, Undertaker's looking down on Brian Lee right now." It's like, you know what I mean?
Hold on.
That Taker versus Taker was fucking trash.
It was better. It was better than Kane versus Kane.
Hold on. Time out.
That was not good, brother. That was not good, brother.
That's like saying early 2000 WCW was better than late 2000.
It's New York rules, bro.
Nobody got my joke.
I did, but hold on.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the payoff was good. The payoff
was it was horrible.
But what I'm saying is the build-up.
The only good thing that came out of that whole Taker versus Taker thing was when Leslie Nielsen was like, the women were out at the pool feeling macho, and then Randy's like standing there and like women are like feeling him. That was the only funny thing.
Kyle, I want you to listen to me. I want you to listen to me, Kyle.
Second.
All right.
One second. Macho has the greatest fucking line because they're like, "Oh, Macho." He's like, "Easy, ladies. It's a family show."
Kyle, you said, "Oh my God, did somebody just get murdered?"
No, it's my granddaughter.
Oh God. Oh, is she okay?
Yeah, no, she's just fighting.
I remember
she just watched the Undertaker versus Undertaker match.
I remember when my kids used to scream like that. All right, Kyle.
Yes.
You said the build-up was great, the payoff wasn't. Okay, listen to me and hear me out.
All right.
Then we'll move on. I'll get off of this. When you approach at 2:30 a.m., the really ugly girl at the bar, the build-up is great. And then later on, as you're sobering up a little bit, the payoff isn't. But in reality, once you sober up completely, it was all bad. It was all bad. All of it was bad.
But you gotta, Nate, you have to realize something.
There's just one person with the clap.
At the most, Kyle and I were like 14 or 15. That's why it was great.
At the time, it's a great thing. And yes, maybe as you sober up, it gets horrible. But at that time, it is what it was. And you had some fun with it.
And then we're wrestling with regret afterward.
Hey, you leave Brian Zane alone.
I always wondered if somebody spreads the clap, is then that applause?
Heyo.
That was a good one, Aaron.
All right, moving along.
I want to do this. I do want to say this. I made notes. I like notes.
Oh,
and I do have some question, like quick hit questions that I'm going to ask you guys.
Okay, go ahead.
We don't have to do it now, Nate, if you don't want to. But
well, you can as we go through, you can ask them during the time frame they took place if you want.
Well, it's not really a time frame thing. It's just like boom, 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 boom. Okay, but all right. I also wrote. Okay, well, let me ask this. Okay. I'll start with my first question, and I'll let you guys answer, and then I'll tell you if that was my answer. Undertaker, his greatest rival, and we'll start with Kyle. In your opinion, Kyle, who is the Undertaker's greatest rival?
Mankind.
That was my answer.
That was also my answer.
That was my answer as well.
And that segues perfectly because I was about to say the Undertaker character, to me, kind of grew up during the Kevin Nash feud, and he grew into this feud with this crazy, insane Mankind, in which not only is Mankind the one wrestler that since he started the gimmick really got the most, he sold for the most. They got the best of him the most. He took his fucking manager. He took his brother, the Undertaker.
Yeah. I'm sorry. The reason the Mankind character is Undertaker's greatest rival is super simple. And you know what it is? Is he was the only guy that the Undertaker fought that wasn't afraid of him.
Right.
And that the Undertaker at times looked at him and seemed a bit afraid of him.
Yeah,
or not afraid of him. Not afraid of him, but at least
slightly.
leery of him.
Right. I can't hurt this guy.
I'm sure all of us can go back to SummerSlam 96 and remember what you thought because they do that so brilliantly. Here comes Taker out of the Boiler Room Brawl, and he fucking reaches up to grab that urn, and fucking Paul Bearer fucking
smashes him
back on him.
Yep.
And that boiler,
like, what the fuck?
And that Boiler Room Brawl, I've brought this up a couple times, is they have these cinematic matches and shit now. It's like you don't need to do it like that. Like,
no, the Boiler Room Brawl was perfectly
the
done.
only thing that hurt the Boiler Room Brawl was lack of commentary.
Yeah,
right. I don't even think that hurt it. I thought it made it better.
Yeah, I disagree on that. And it is, it's semantics. It is, it is what it is. But I just think commentary would have made the match better.
I just feel bad for the fans in that arena having to watch the fucking match
on a TV screen
on those fucking television TVs that used to bring down for your fucking school, like that was wrapped to the fucking
Howard Finkel's like, ladies and gentlemen, the 27-inch Nikons.
Yeah. Here you go, fuckers.
I paid $500 for a ringside seat to watch a 50-inch screen. What are you talking about here?
It's like when they'd bring out the little TV at Sherman Elementary and be like, "We want to watch Cheetah or
Glory." Glory. For me, it was Glory. God damn it! How many times a year did I have to watch Glory?
For me at Sherman Elementary, it was like we're either gonna watch Cheetah, which was a movie about a white
porno.
No, it was about a white kid in Africa that became friends with a cheetah. Or Lean on Me, because they wanted all of us to understand that even though we're in school,
wait, either Morgan Freeman with a baseball bat,
or Cheetah,
or try to figure out how a white kid got to Africa.
No, the white kid was. This is gonna get too. We're not gonna go.
Leave it alone, Aaron.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it alone.
And that was the longest night of Aaron Max's life.
We're not gonna get too deep into Cheetah.
So back to the Undertaker.
Hey, I don't do a bad Morgan Freeman for.
No, you don't. I was gonna say you actually. It was good.
And that dude was always old By the way, I've never seen like a young Morgan Freeman.
I love South Park when they talk about him. They're like,
Yep.
Every time that Morgan Freeman shows up to explain something, he gets another freckle.
And they would zoom in on his face to show ping, another one would pop up. So,
the Undertaker feud with Mankind, I think we've established his greatest rival.
I'm going to go on record and say that's my favorite feud that he had, because, and not a lot of our listeners might know this, the feud kicked off on Mankind's debut.
Yeah.
Yep.
He fought Bob Holly earlier in the night on Raw, won, and then after the Undertaker had his match on the main event of Raw, here comes Mankind to kick the crap out of him and do it well.
And I'll tell you this, those of you that are younger listeners that were not watching like we were live and in person as we watched pro wrestling as it evolved, shit like that did not happen.
Nope.
Especially with somebody who just made their debut.
I thought it was unplanned. I was like, did Mick Foley just go rogue?
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
I mean it was very, very it was very out of the ordinary. And obviously as the time goes on, they came back to that feud.
Yep.
And Undertaker won the title from Sid and then went through a feud with Vader and et cetera, and had my favorite SummerSlam main event ever with Bret Hart at the 97 SummerSlam.
Right. Well, real quick, hang on before we get to that, because Mankind's feud with Undertaker was so important that because of the whole face burning thing and Taker turning the fire on Paul Bearer, Paul Bearer comes out and is like, I'm going to fucking reveal a secret about you, Undertaker.
Yep.
And see, this might sound, and Nate, all you guys, this might sound silly, but Taker Mankind was almost similar to like Tommy Dreamer versus Raven.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because there was a lot of hidden backstory. Yeah.
But even shit would burn off from it.
Right.
Like Tommy and Raven would feud with each other, and then somebody else would get involved in it, and then Tommy'd start feuding with that guy, but eventually it came to Raven Tommy, and Taker and Mick was the same way, because like Mick showed up, and then all of a sudden now this I keep calling it Mick, but this Mankind Taker thing now turns into Vader, or it turns into Mankind and Taker, and now fucking
here comes
Terry Gordy, and here comes Terry Gordy, and here comes Kane, and all it all. You know what I mean?
And they had, like I said, I mean, again, you want to talk about a goofy ass gimmick, the buried alive match.
Mm-hmm.
For all intents and purposes, it should be fucking silly, but like,
it wasn't though.
To see Undertaker get buried,
right,
and to see that fucking hand pop up,
like,
how are you not going to fucking be like, oh my god,
Kyle? I agree with you 100%. You go back to the Yoko feud, the first match he had with Yoko. They put him in the casket. He shows up on the Titantron and then floats off into the rafters and disappears. At the end of the Buried Alive match, when they bury him, you're like, okay, what's going to happen? What are we going to see now? And then it's just a simple hand popping up out of the grave to let you know I'm not gone.
And then he turns,
hey, right.
And then he returns as a fucking bat from the ceiling.
Yep.
Like,
which was a little weird. Was a little weird. It was a little weird. You know, like I mean, okay, you got buried,
and he had a teardrop tattoo. That was like the only thing the Undertaker did that I was like, really? You have a teardrop tattoo?
Right. Are you did you murder somebody while you were gone for that 3 months? What did you do?
We have talked about it plenty on the show. We're not going to harp on it. We're not going to spend a bunch of time on it. But since we're talking about Undertaker's career and we're talking about Mankind, like I was trying to allude to earlier, like Aaron said, their feud kind of evolved and it would go away and it would come back because, again, comparing it to Raven and Dreamer. And, of course, we would be remiss not to at least mention the Hell in a Cell One of the most iconic moments in wrestling history. And again, we've talked about it a million times in the show. We
They've
won't
killed
go
him.
deep into it.
They've killed him.
But I mean, again, once again, the man making an indelible mark on the business. So now,
well, real quick, I want to say that it was perfect for Undertaker because that's like the start of kind of Undertaker turning heel.
Right.
His 98 run. And like, think about that. Like, how much more of a heel can you be? Be like, I don't give a shit about this guy. I'm going to throw him off the fucking cell.
Well, it's
right.
I wrote down, like, I just picked 6 of the coolest moments ever for The Undertaker. And one of them was the Survivor Series debut, which we talked about. But one that's on my notes is that it's fucking awesome what Mick did and sacrificing himself for getting thrown off the cell. And I'm sure we'll talk about Mick at some point. But one of the coolest, most iconic moments for me is when he gets thrown off and they pan up and like Taker's just looking at it.
Right.
You know, he's just like
with
looking
no remorse.
down.
He has no remorse.
The devastation that he did. It's fucking fantastic.
And let's not forget the fact that Undertaker's a badass. He fought and did that match with a fucking broke ankle.
I recently watched an interview with Mick, and he mentions that there was more planned for the match, but when he went through the cage and Terry Funk comes out, Terry Funk goes to Mick in his ear and he's like, tell me and we'll cancel the match. It's over. You know, you've gone 15, 20 minutes. It's done. Mick's like, no, go to Taker and tell him to knock you out because the fans will cheer if he hits a legend like Terry Funk. So he's like, okay. So he goes to Taker and he's like, you know, on camera, we're seeing him go back off, leave him alone. He's dead. He's down. He's whatever. But he's really telling him, you know, Mick wants you to hit me and knock me out so that the fans will pop. So Undertaker's like, okay. And he comes back and he hits him with that soup bone of a fist. And Terry Funk goes over his head, goes over his ass, and his shoe flies off. Why? I don't know. But you see it when it does happen. And all Mick kept thinking when he was getting pulled to the back after the match was over was, whose shoe was that? That was his main concern. Not am I dead? Not am I hurt?
Not are those my teeth?
Right. Yeah. He's like, whose shoe was that in the ring?
How about the fact that Mick Foley fucking dislocates his shoulder and he's like, Taker, hit me with the fucking chair. Put it back in.
Put it back into place.
Like, good God.
So we've moved into 98, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention probably, I mean, in the story, you know, we say Mankind. But if you're talking the kayfabe story of the history of The Undertaker, you would probably say his greatest rival was his own brother,
yes,
Kane. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that until they really, you know what, guys, until they really started fucking with the story of Kane and Undertaker, namely Vince Russo, in 99, which is my least favorite year in the WWF ever. It was a great story. Like, it was just a good story, and the two guys worked perfectly together, and they meshed well with Bill Moody, and, I mean, everything was perfect. And these guys were always good together. Sometimes, like I said, their story got stupid, and WWE would play with it too much, and et cetera, but they had some bad matches with each other. Let's be honest. They had some bad, but they're two great workers.
Inferno match?
Great,
well, the Inferno match is fucking terrible.
Think about that. Like, the story of here comes Kane. Kane attacks Undertaker, and Undertaker's like, I'm not fighting my own flesh and blood.
Right.
Like, and it took fucking Kane basically setting Undertaker on fire for Taker to be like, all right, you know what? The fucking gloves are off.
Right.
Like,
you want to burn me? I'll fight you. You know, but Nate, I still don't know who set that damn fire. They switched it so many times.
Oh, God.
First it was Kane, then it was The Undertaker, then it was Paul Bearer, then it was an accident. Like,
go ahead.
Taker's a better brother than Brett. Because all Owen did was kick his leg out of his leg.
Right.
It took a fire to make Undertaker beat his own brother up.
And of course, how could we not forget the famous or infamous Jerry Lawler talking to Paul Bearer about banging Taker's mommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one leg was in California and the other leg was in New York.
You know what's one of my actual
Oh, sorry, you guys talked about Jerry Lawler. And when you bring up Jerry Lawler, it's like bringing up Bobby Heenan to me. Like through the entire episode, Lawler's like, "Did you hear Paul Bearer talking about bumping uglies with the Undertaker's mom and all this shit?" And then he's just saying all this shit. He's like, "Oh man, he took the one-eyed train to Toontown and all this shit, And he's just saying all this shit, and then all of a sudden, like the camera just pans up and fucking Taker's there, and Lawler's like, "Shit," and fucking Taker beats the shit out of him. It's fucking fantastic. It's one of the best 2 hours you'll ever see.
We're not gonna keep back and forth into the Undertaker Kane, so I'm just kind of discussing it now. But other than that, the earlier part of their story, and I'm not, to be perfectly honest with you, even though I'm a fan of the American Badass gimmick, I'm not a big fan of them as the Brothers of Destruction. It is what it is. But actually, low key, one of my favorite arcs of the Undertaker Kane story they ever did was actually more modern. I feel old because right now I'm saying modern was like 10 years ago.
Right.
But when they had Taker, they had the big mystery as to who destroyed Undertaker or whatever, and then Kane was trying to implicate Rey Mysterio and blah, blah, blah. That actually, to me, was really cool. Taker comes back at that SummerSlam. I think it's either 09 or 10. I can't remember.
Opens the casket, and there's the Undertaker.
Yeah, and he tells Ray, I believe you, and blah, blah. But that was cool. But anyway.
Can I tell you my favorite, and then I'll be done with it. My favorite Kane Undertaker moment.
Sure.
Well, actually, my second favorite. My first favorite is in my coolest moments, and it's when and it was just Kane's character suckering Undertaker in. The coolest moment Kane and Undertaker ever had, and the greatest response it ever got from a crowd was when Kane was trying to sucker Undertaker's character in, and they saluted each other on.
Yep.
Raw.
Yeah,
that was fucking badass, and people popped for it. But my favorite is WrestleMania 20, where Taker comes back and he's got Paul Bearer with him, and it's like raining in the arena. Nate, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And fucking Kane is like tapping the Undertaker, and he's like, "You're not real. You're not real." And he's like, "You're not real." And then fucking Taker grabs his arm and just starts fucking soup boning him. It's fucking great.
And as Nate was saying, that like the Brothers Destruction wasn't that great, but it's like that had to happen for Kane to sit there and turn on him and be like, "You're not my fucking brother anymore."
Yeah.
Right.
And that's fucking like, go watch fucking that Survivor Series. I think it's 2003, because not only do you see fucking Taker just beat the fuck out of Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm. Here's a spot where we can fast forward. And I'm gonna get to that Survivor Series thing, Kyle. I wasn't trying to.
No, you're fine.
But we're gonna get there because I have that. I want to fast forward because I do not even really want to talk about the Ministry of Darkness garbage. I hate 99 Undertaker. I hate 99 WWF. A lot of it, but the 99 Undertaker is a marginalized, overproduced, overwritten.
It was weird.
Garbage. It was just garbage.
Mark Calloway.
It was B movie bad.
Yeah.
Mark Calloway's even gone on record of saying that he hated that, and the reason he hated it was because he thought his character didn't need people to run in for him.
Right.
And he's right. He's right. And it was and then, again, I don't want to harp on it. If you guys have anything to say on it, that's fine, but I'd like to skip over it a little bit. It's the worst, man.
Go ahead, Kyle.
I think the only match really with Undertaker and Steve Austin that has any significance in '99 is that I think it's Fully Loaded, where it's the first blood match where if if Taker loses, Vince leaves, and But of course, fucking Vince comes back 3 months later, but
of course,
that's still the fucking I think that's about the biggest build to anything, because God forbid it wasn't WrestleMania.
So I'm glad I could.
I got my next question.
Okay. Is
that okay?
Yeah.
No.
All right. My next question is: I said favorite rival, and this is different.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your favorite opponent of the Undertaker? And I want to say who mine is first.
Go ahead.
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. Yep.
Shawn Michaels.
Yep. I agree.
There has been no human being on the face of the planet that knew exactly how to sell and work with Mark Calloway.
Oh, without a doubt.
Shawn Michaels.
I'm gonna be the odd man out here.
Okay.
I'm a huge fan, and we'll get to it, but I'm a huge fan of Randy Orton and Undertaker.
Me too.
It's passable.
But I agree with Archie and Aaron. I mean, my favorite, and it's hard for me a lot of times because, I mean, honestly, my two favorite matches ever have Michaels in them. The one is Angle and Michaels Mania 21, and then my favorite match ever is Michaels and Taker at 25.
Mine too.
But
can I ask about?
I think Shawn Michaels working with Undertaker was the equivalent to I don't even know how to put it. Like it's one of the great Aaron. It's one of the great rivalries. It's one of the great, not even rivalries, opponent, like guy versus guy. Just those two guys.
Do you know why? Not only the fact that Shawn Michaels is probably the second greatest in-ring performer of all time, but it's like these guys are the WWF guys.
Right. Exactly.
To me, like if you would say, hey, when you speak of WWF, who do you think of? Think of Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, and Randy Savage.
Right.
And then after that, Roddy Piper. Those are the five guys. And these two guys fucking make music every goddamn time they're in the ring together.
Yep.
And Shawn would sell ridiculous for other people, but he never insulted Undertaker in the ring.
Nope.
You can't say that about anybody else, except maybe probably Triple H. Can't say that about anybody else that Shawn ever worked for. Shawn, at his time,
when he was on top, when he was on top,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Shawn was like a prick in the ring, but he was never a prick in the ring for Taker. Because
you knew Taker would have kicked his ass if they got backstage.
And plus, he respects the shit out of him.
Yeah,
and that's Shawn, and that's Undertaker's greatest opponent, is Shawn Michaels.
Well, I liken the Undertaker and Shawn Michaels' rivalry and them being opponents because it happened so, at sporadic times. Shawn was Undertaker's Macho Man, the way Hulk Hogan had Macho. And they would always seem to meet back up after a few years. And when there was nobody else to feud with, there was Hogan and Macho. In the same regard, Shawn had Undertaker and Undertaker had Shawn. When Austin and Rock were gone, the WWE had those two to stand on.
Yeah.
So,
and it's also those two are involved in my favorite Undertaker entrance, and it's the Heaven and Hell.
Oh,
entrance.
I love that. That's
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely my favorite segment between them is when Shawn Michaels comes out in all white as a white Undertaker, and it's pitch black, and you think it's the Undertaker. The lights go on. There he is in the white coat and the hat, and it's just like the Shawn Michaels music goes on, and everybody in the arena just pops.
Yeah, that Heaven to Hell fucking WrestleMania entrance.
Yep,
fucking beautiful.
And on that note, it's time to take a break, guys.
Okay.
No.
We're going to take a break.
Okay.
Archie's being petulant. And when we return, we will have more of The Undertaker, as he is going to become more human for us when we return. Here on the We Can't Wrestle podcast, Undertaker 30-year edition. We'll be right back after this.
Well. You can't wrestle. So what did you do? You went out there and you started a podcast. You got that right. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the We Can't Wrestle podcast. And I am Brian Pillman Jr. The We Can't Wrestle podcast is a podcast about wrestling and a bunch of guys that don't know how to do it. But I, Brian Pillman Jr., am very good at pro wrestling, so I don't need to start a podcast called the We Can't Wrestle podcast, but I'll gladly put my name on the brand. I'll gladly go on the line to say that the We Can't Wrestle podcast is one of the most informative, most balanced, non-biased podcasts out there. Thank you very much, and have a good listen.
Welcome back, everyone, to the 30 years of the Undertaker edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
I said, did you say, is that soup?
The Motley Soup.
Nice cheap plug, Nate.
Thank you. So now, again, like I was saying before we went to break, and we were talking about a little bit, Taker's ability to evolve his character with the times and what's going on in wrestling in the WWF. We reached the American Badass stage of The Undertaker.
Yes.
Which, the first part of it is what it is. But, buddy, you get into that heel American Badass Undertaker.
Oh, yeah. And that rolls into my question.
Okay.
And if you guys don't want me to answer first, that's fine. The question is, what's your favorite version of The Undertaker?
I'm partial to Dead Man Undertaker. It's just the way it is.
Purple or gray?
What's that?
Purple or gray?
Gray.
I'm partial to Hybrid Undertaker.
Okay.
The Dead Man gimmick with the bare knuckle fighter style.
Okay.
Kyle?
I'm a fan of the 2002, 2003 Undertaker. Booger Red. Dead Man Incorporated.
That's on my list. I not on my list. That's my answer. My favorite version of the Undertaker is Big Eagle Booger Red.
God, I love it.
I love the short hair, fucking shit ass.
The song alone is just cool. You know what I mean? You done it now. It's like, okay, let's see where we're going.
Like when he beats the fuck out of Jeff Hardy.
Oh,
I was about to say he did some great shit for young talent during that time. Whether they made it on their own or not, you know, I mean, the stuff he did with Maven was amazing.
Yeah, kicking Maven's ass all over concessions.
Yeah, but when Maven kicks him,
no, I know, I was being joking. I'm joking him.
When Maven drop kicks him out of that rumble, he lands on his feet.
Yep,
he looks
Maven's
back
jumping
at that
up and
ring.
down.
He licks the back of his lip. You know, he just like
when you get like big eyed and shit. It's fucking great.
His feud with Flair. His feud with Flair going into WrestleMania 18. I mean, it's some of the realest looking shit they ever did in that company.
When
Flair, he beats up David.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he beats the crap out of David.
He's just sitting against. He's not even effort. I mean, it's effortless. He's sitting against that wall. He's hugging David. You know, it's not even like I don't even have to try to beat your stupid little pudgy son up. You know what I mean? Like he's just being the biggest fucking bully.
God bless David. David's at a wrestling school trying to train to be a better wrestler, but he's getting his ass
poor
kicked.
kid. You used to be hitting Stacy Keibler, and now
now you're getting hit by the Taker.
And you know what's like the coolest part about it? And this is where it kind of shits on Hogan a little bit. Like, Flair talks about it, and he's like, when Hogan tried to get heat on me, he whipped the shit out of my kid and took liberties with him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and beat his ass in the middle of the ring. But when Undertaker did it, when it was done, David called Dad and said, man, working with that guy was great. Didn't hurt me, didn't do nothing to me.
Now, and
when it was done, he said, thank you, good job, kid.
I would like to say, before we skip over it, because we went into this, and that's great, the way that he became this Undertaker is one of the coolest heel turns.
Or Jim Ross.
Is one of the coolest heel turns in wrestling history. When he does the whole thing about kissing Vince's ass and blah, 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 and then he looks at JR and he's like, you calling me a kiss ass?
No, it's not even exactly what he says. He says, he looks at Jim Ross and he's like, you going to kiss his ass? Jim Ross is like, hell no. Hell no.
Are you better than me? That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Does that mean you're better than me? And Jim looks at him like, with his little crooked face, and is like,
uh-oh.
It's so good. That is one of the most well-done segments in the history of Raw, my opinion. But yeah, Booger Red Undertaker, and then eventually, he moves into his feud with, and we started alluding to it earlier, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of goes babyface again, he does with the flag and all that and blah, blah, blah. Then he moves into that feud with Vince. And then he cracks Vince in the head.
The first minute.
So hard. Splits it. That is it me or is it crazy that the guy that at one point in his career was telling guys not to bleed on pay-per-view takes the most obvious hard-way shot I've ever seen in my life.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like Vince was telling people not to blade. Vince didn't blade. Vince got scalped.
No. Which,
like Undertaker became Tatanka for a minute because he scalped that motherfucker.
But you gotta say credit to him that he was willing to be like fucking like that, and Big Show getting punched by Floyd Mayweather, where it's just like fucking unload on me.
Yeah,
like
right.
God,
Undertaker hits.
He hits him with that.
I hate to harp on it. Huh?
It's a ladder.
No, it's a shovel.
Yeah, it's a shovel. He fucks him up.
It's a buried alive match at Survivor Series 03.
Yeah, it's like right at the beginning of it. It's like, boom. All right.
No, he hits him with his fucking fist.
Well, doesn't he crack him with the shovel, though?
Yeah, towards the end of the match. But, like, what busts Vince open is because Vince walks up and he's like, oh, there's a higher power. I believe, like, God's going to protect me. And fucking Taker just
pops that motherfucker.
And as soon as he goes down, and just fucking blood. It's like, holy shit.
Either way, Vince bleeds like a fucking stuck pig. And the setup here is for, as we just discussed, him coming into being a more realistic approach to his character. And this is where I become, like I said, the hybrid is my favorite Undertaker, because he returns at WrestleMania 20 against his brother Kane.
You're not real.
Yeah, as the Undertaker,
and the biggest pop of that entire WrestleMania is
for sure.
Well, because we don't see Undertaker, we don't hear anything from him until Royal Rumble. Kane's in the ring, and the fucking clock counts down, and then bong, and fucking Kane's just like, what the fuck?
Rob Van Dam.
Yeah.
Well, you said bong, so I just
Rob Van Dam likes to smoke pot.
Yeah. Thanks, Cal, for shitting on my joke. God damn it. You know what? I'll let you have a zinger once in a while.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all right. Hey-o! But like Aaron said earlier in the show, talking about Kane and Undertaker, That is a very cool moment where Kane's
they made
tapping
it
him.
rain.
He's
They made it
tapping him, and he's like,
rain in the arena.
"You're not real. You're not real. You're not real." And then fucking Undertaker starts unloading on him with them soup bones, man.
Well, hold on.
And like I said, they made it rain in the building. That's fucking cool, man.
Well, and Paul Bearer, fucking, he walks up and he looks at Kane and he's like, "My son." He's like, "You're no son of mine," and turns his back on him.
Well, let's be honest. At that point, he waddled up, but yeah,
but still. Look, the man liked chocolate cake. That's what, you know.
Hey, I like chocolate cake too.
Yeah, I mean, I waddle too, so don't.
Yeah,
you know.
Now this is as we move past WrestleMania 20. Yeah, there's stuff going on with Taker and blah 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 with the Dudleys, and it's all very convoluted. And it was almost a time with Undertaker booking the Undertaker where it seemed like Paul Heyman was trying to appeal to Vince McMahon with some
that fucking like
the Dudleys thing.
Dudley's burying Undertaker.
When Heyman started calling the Dudleys the Dudley,
and they
all that
buried
shit.
fucking. Yeah, that was fucking weird.
Yeah, but the best thing that came out of that match was seeing the Undertaker pull the arm of the cement truck and killing Paul Bearer for the 20th time.
Yeah,
it
was all bad.
After this, Paul got murdered like 17 times.
Yeah.
The best one, by the way, is when Edge dropped him down in the fucking sewer.
I liked when Kane pulled him out of the freezer, but
I liked when he got put in the freezer.
I love the fucking manhole shit, man. That was funny. But anyway,
he got manholed twice.
Yep.
Ew.
And I said it that way to see if anybody would react.
By Burt Prentice, or
no? He liked it so much the first time he acted for seconds.
Hey, Archie was getting too many deep cuts here, so I had to go with a Burt Prentice reference.
I know, but I wanted to see if anybody picked up on he got manholed twice.
No!
Oh no!
Kane and Steve Austin manholed him.
Together or apart?
Remember?
Mm-hmm.
At the same time?
Yep.
Damn.
They DP'd that manhole.
That's going to be the name of the episode. Undertaker, 30 years. Yep. Oh, whoop.
They DP'd that manhole.
But anyway, now to what Kyle was alluding to earlier and trying to get into.
That
one of Taker's greatest rivals. You know, we talked about Michaels, we've talked about Kane, we talked about Mankind. You got to talk about Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What a feud! What a rivalry!
You,
I'm begging you,
begging you, man.
That's my son. I'm begging you, man. Bob Orton,
fucking Bob ripping the fucking fake face off and shit. Good stuff.
Undertaker. Who did? Okay, guys, who did more for Orton early in his career? Undertaker or Foley?
Foley.
Damn.
In my opinion, Orton was just another name on the street.
See, I disagree with that. I will agree with the Foley thing, but I think Undertaker sold for Orton and put over Orton more than he did most of the guys of Orton's generation.
You asked the question of which one or the other. I'm not discounting what Undertaker did, but Foley put Orton over way more than the Undertaker did.
I hate Randy Orton.
I don't understand that, Archie. We're not going to get into it.
He's boring as fuck.
Oh my god, I love Randy Orton.
He's boring.
We're going to have to do a Nate and Archie debate.
Again?
Randy Orton episode. Yes.
Look at this, Arch. Look.
Aaron, nobody can see this.
Yeah, I don't, okay. He's showing me. That's great. They did not need to make a figure just to give him a cast. Okay? That was that Randall Orton Jr. news. That was the shittest. Damn. Boring. Worst member of Evolution.
Shit, damn. Goddamn boring.
making me have a seizure on the podcast.
This fucking dude's got Tourette's.
Randy Orton gives Archie a stroke on the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
Shit, goddamn.
The best thing that
soda,
happened to Orton
popcorn,
was
chicken wings.
the best thing that happened to Randy Orton was joining Edge and making Rated RKO. That was the only time he was even remotely entertaining.
All right, back on the
Damn.
Undertaker.
But I digress.
We've
We're talking
delved
about the
into
Undertaker.
this.
Don't you dare get me off topic, Archie. Mitchell.
We've delved into this subculture.
Listen, I love you.
We've delved into this sub.
I think we found our topic for the next show.
I love you and all your Kenny Omega hate. You can love me and all my Randy Orton hate.
You're absolutely right. One
I'm just saying-
love, Archie.
I'm just saying,
I love you, brother.
Love you too.
I'm just saying we've dubbed into this subcategory that I didn't know how much fucking Archie hated goddamn Randy Orton.
I can't stand him. And
Right.
when he beat Drew McIntyre recently, I went, shit. It's the age of Orton again. There's a meme right now out that says when Randy Orton finally says that he's a legend, and then it's Randy Orton behind Randy Orton about the RKO himself. I'm waiting to see that happen on SmackDown.
And in the age of COVID wrestling, it could possibly happen.
Right.
Hey, I'm saying when we're gonna see Andre the Giant fight somebody.
Are you taking a shit right now?
Kyle, you're too far away from your microphone. Be professional, goddammit.
Sorry.
Something goes, damn it.
You like that?
You raced up like the Undertaker.
But we're gonna see fucking Andre the Giant fight somebody at WrestleMania this year.
Can I ask my last question?
I sure hope it's Randy Orton.
Can I ask my last question?
Sure.
It's about the Undertaker.
No.
Oh,
I hope so.
I thought we were talking about
Yeah.
Randy Orton.
Now,
No.
this shit's gone off the rails.
It always goes.
It's
off
just
the
about
rails.
the Undertaker. And I'm going to say my answer first because y'all are going to get fucking crazy. Favorite match of the Undertaker's career. This is my favorite match of the Undertaker's career. And it's his match versus Brock Lesnar at No Mercy 2002 Hell in a Cell.
Good match.
It's a fucking
match.
it's a fantastic match.
It's a good match. I like it.
Fucking great. Bell to bell. Everything about it is fantastic. Everybody bleeds, and it's my favorite. It's not only my favorite Hell in a Cell match, it's my favorite Brock Lesnar match, and it's my favorite Undertaker match. Lesnar and Undertaker are in my top 10 favorite wrestlers of all time. This fucking match is perfect. Bell to bell, fantastic. Fucking fantastic.
What about you, Kyle?
I'm gonna have to go with Taker and Shawn.
Which one?
Which one?
WrestleMania 25.
Me too.
Although I like the ending of 26 better, when Shawn is clawing up and Taker's like, "Fuck, I don't want to do this."
25 is a better match.
Right.
26 is a better spectacle.
And story.
Like, if I could be so bold as to say the WrestleMania 25 match is Savage and Steamboat,
Right.
and the 26 match is Hogan and Andre. One is a better match, one is a better spectacle.
Yep.
But Aaron, I mean, your pull is great too. I mean, that's a fantastic match. A fantastic match. That Lesnar Undertaker match. That's my second favorite Hell in a Cell match.
It's the best Hell in a Cell match. Retract yourself and agree.
I like his match.
I will not.
I like his match with Goldberg in Saudi Arabia.
Archie's fired. God
I'm
damn
kidding.
it.
I'm kidding.
The fuck up.
No,
Archie, you and Zelina will now be on the bread line together.
Good. Maybe I could actually get something from her
Archie's
this
like,
time.
I got that hot wheat bread, baby.
Yeah. Got that honey wheat bread from Subway. Come on. It's not made with mats anymore.
Can I tell you something?
This shit's a loaf. I gotta slice it.
They don't have the fucking. They don't have the Monterey cheddar fucking breaded sub anymore. That pisses me off.
Fucking COVID.
You fucking
Go back
bastards.
to bed, Kyle.
No, I have to agree with Kyle and Nate. WrestleMania 25, Undertaker and Shawn helped me once again become a fan, because at that point in time before then, I was just watching and I was just like, okay, it's wrestling, it's on, great.
Right.
But then that story leading up to it and everything that they were doing, and then what they did in that match, Undertaker flying over the top rope and killing the cameraman who didn't catch him correctly.
That was Domino. Wasn't
Yep.
it?
You want to talk
Sim
about
Snuka.
Or was
Get
it
right.
Deuce?
It was Sim Snuka.
Was it Domino or Deuce?
It was Domino.
You want to talk about a great build-up from 25 to 26 with Shawn.
Oh,
and
God.
Taker.
It was a 1 year.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. To move along, this moves the story along a little bit. This is a 3-year story.
Yep.
That is told, because, again, we have to start here. 2007, the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
The final two guys are Shawn Michaels and Undertaker. Well, that's 08, Aaron.
I know, but it was fun.
But is there a finer finish to a Royal Rumble match?
What did they go, like 10 extra minutes, just the two of them in the ring?
It's the two best endings to a non-singles or tag team match, in my opinion, ever, are Shawn and Taker at the Royal Rumble in 07 and Bret Hart and Ted DiBiase at the Survivor Series in 1990.
Yep. I agree with you on that.
These two multi-man matches divulge into amazing one-on-one singles matches.
Yep.
Taker and Shawn started the base for what would be 3 years of an epic story told.
Yep.
When people tell you the WWE can't tell stories and blah blah, fuck them.
Well, no, hang on.
Like until about 8 years ago or so,
right? They were telling stories just fine.
Not just fine, better than anybody in the business telling a story.
And it wasn't even a 3-year story; it's a 5-year story because it plays into
into Triple H, yeah,
right, right. You know, okay, Shawn wins Taker wins the Royal Rumble, and then the following year at the Royal Rumble, number 1 and number 2 are Shawn and Taker again.
And like Aaron was alluding to earlier, when Michael Buffer at 08 at the Royal Rumble introduces Undertaker's music starts, and Michael Buffer just goes
boom, Undertaker.
He just says it. Yeah, he screams it.
So long, you guys went a long way to get there, but I'm right that it's Brock Lesnar and Undertaker at No Mercy 2002.
But we knew that going into this, so it's not a big deal. I mean,
yeah, so you guys just put a little breath heat out there for nothing.
Oh, well.
Okay.
Like to hear ourselves talk.
So anyway.
I have one more. Breath heat is what I say when people are like talking too much.
So now take
nothing.
I
have a question.
Okay.
I thought you said you were done.
No, I have one more question.
And then one more after that.
No. Go back to laying down or doing whatever you were doing with your ghost game. I have a guy on my list. Not on my list, but just somebody that I thought could have had a really, really cool feud with The Undertaker he never feuded with. And that I don't know if I've ever seen him have a match with.
Gene Snitsky.
And I thought would have been awesome. And do you know who it is?
Gene Snitsky.
No, not Gene Snitsky. I think... No. Nate, do you want to fucking give some stupid ass answer too?
No.
Nate's answer is the Red Rooster.
Okay. I think that, and I actually put some thought into this, bitches. I think that The Undertaker versus Bam Bam Bigelow would have been a fucking amazing feud.
How would we have gotten there, though?
I don't know. I'm just giving a fucking. You figure it out. Like I'm like Steve Jobs.
Bam Bam comes in and is like, Jersey boy got your urn, bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, so this would have been happening when everybody was grabbing the Undertaker's urn. I understand.
Well, no,
Well, he is.
You
He
guys
is from.
figure it out. I'm like
he
Steve
is-
Jobs. I'm like, hey, put all my shit in this little device. Figure it out.
He is
Yeah,
from
it's like-
Asbury Park.
You know, Aaron, you really are.
They could have the Asbury Park brawl.
Nate had too much. Nate had too much fun with that pun just now.
He
Aaron,
did.
you really,
He's had too
truly
much
are.
beer.
You really, truly are a supervisor.
Yeah, I'm delegating this shit out. Get me an Undertaker Bam Bam feud.
I just
Well, we
did.
can't. One of them is dead.
I just did.
Well,
Hey,
Both
there
of
you
them
go.
are dead. Both of them are dead, technically, Archie.
Well, no, it's not. It's not the obvious answer. Undertaker is not the dead one in this scenario.
Yes,
So now
he
we're-
is.
So now we're going to move on
Okay.
to.
Come on, guys. You're going to tell me that fucking Bam Bam Bigelow and Undertaker wouldn't be a cool feud? Jesus.
Nobody said that.
Yeah, no one said that. I asked, how would we get there?
And I answered
By horseback.
by horse.
Cue the Aaron crumpling up his list in 3, 2, 1.
I wonder if the fans at home were able to hear that.
One of Taker's last great rivalries and one of his best rivalries was with Edge.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah! We got to watch that shit.
Let me tell you guys, my favorite Hell in a Cell match, and it is probably because I was there and Aaron was there with me. Indianapolis, Indiana, 2008. Aaron and I were at SummerSlam, live and in person, for the Undertaker Edge Hell in a Cell match, where they not only busted out one side of the cell as we're screaming and yay and blah 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 for Undertaker. Who knew? All of a sudden, flames shoot up from the fucking ring, and I mean, but not just that match, but the entire feud was, to me, one of Taker's last great rivalries, and that's speaking not only a testament to Taker but also to Edge, as Edge and Cena. Edge, Cena, and Orton, to me, and to a certain small extent, Drew McIntyre, are the last great old school workers of all time. And there it ends. But anything on Edge and Taker, guys?
I think that they both brought the best out in each other, in my opinion.
The only reason I didn't put that up, fucking Hell in a Cell match on my list as my favorite one is because they were like a bunch of fat in the way. Watch it. Sorry.
Okay.
Like, no, guys, this is how cool the Undertaker is. Like, Nate and I were watching this entire show, and this is what was on the show. Like, this is the same, if you guys don't remember the SummerSlam he's talking about, this is the one where they did the Jericho Shawn Michaels back and forth promo where Jericho went to punch Shawn and Shawn ducked and Shawn hit Rebecca.
It was such an amazing show to be live at.
Yeah, it was a great show. And this is how much the WWE knows how popular The Undertaker is. We're watching this entire show. Okay? We're watching it. And fans are being fans and doing their thing. And there's Conseco Fieldhouse security out in the crowd. But right before the main event, all of a sudden they like doubled up on WWF guys or WWE guys. Like, they sent even more security out there because they knew these people were going to lose their fucking minds. Am I lying, Nate?
No.
And during the entire match, people were like, "Get off!" Like security was like, "Get off your chair! Get off your chair!" Nobody was people were losing their fucking mind. The Undertaker came out, and it was cool as shit because we were like six rows away from the ring, which actually put us like 4 rows of like in front of the fucking entrance. And when Taker came out and they shot the flames up and shit, I have never felt more. I had never fanned out as a fan or marked out more as a fan than when fucking Undertaker made his goddamn Undertaker entrance. It was the coolest goddamn thing I'd ever seen in my life.
However, what I will say, just to be a pessimist, for those of you who have, when COVID lets up, if we're allowed to go to live wrestling shows again, and I'm not talking about an independent show, I'm talking about a major show like a WWE or an AEW, guys, ladies, and I don't know, Archie, if you agree, or Kyle, if you agree, don't ever get fucking floor seats, man. That shit is overrated. Yep. Unless you're in the front row on the floor, it's miserable.
It was. It wasn't miserable until Undertaker came out.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you constantly have some asshat standing up, or he's got his fucking. I have kids, and I probably would have done the same thing, and whatever. But some douchebag's got his kid on his shoulder or whatever, and you can't see. And I'm not. I guess I'm being a prick right now, but I'm just saying. Don't get floor seats. Get like right up off the floor seats.
I learned my lesson. I was front row for an indie event, and was me and my son. He was 8 at the time, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And Brody Lee landed in our lap.
Oh my!
Yeah, he was in a Falls Count Anywhere match with Homicide, and Homicide pushed him off the top rope, and legitimately, Brody Lee's beard was on my son's leg, and we. You know, I helped him up, whatever. He got back in the ring, and my son just looked at me like, "Dad, can we go home?" And I'm like, "Yes, we can." And I literally got up and watched the rest of the match from the door. I didn't want to stay in the front row anymore. So I don't, you know.
I'll just say this. I agree with Nate with talking about floor seats are a pain in the ass. Because, like, I've never understood why if you're in, you spent, like however much money you spent to sit in the front row and you're going to stand up. I don't understand that. But it was pretty fucking cool.
Oh, no. I'm not taking
away Undertaker coming out.
I'm not taking away from that at all.
Like I won't bitch about the money we spent on that Survivor or in that SummerSlam fucking show because we can at least say we were on the floor and we were right next to fucking Undertaker coming out. That shit was cool.
Go ahead, Kyle.
No.
when the flames came up, or when he came out, how hot was it?
God damn.
Could you feel the heat,
baby?
I was in a nosebleed for WrestleMania 29 and witnessed his entrance, and my face nearly burned off because the flames were at the MetLife sign.
The only time I could
it wasn't hotter than what those people went through in Orlando.
Now hang on,
but it was pretty hot.
I want to say, can you imagine? Because I want to talk real quick about the time the Undertaker got set on fucking fire.
Damn, yeah.
On his way to the Elimination Chamber.
And finished his match.
Yes. Good God. Can you imagine? Did we lose everybody?
No, we're here.
Okay.
We're asking. You said, can you imagine?
No, because you can imagine being set on fucking fire. And not just like, here it is, but like in your fucking face. Then have to go to the ring and wait in a fucking pod.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To come wrestle your match.
Like, hey, we just burnt your face. Will you step into this plastic oven?
Yeah, like, oh.
So we discussed earlier a little bit about how this journey for Undertaker goes through Triple H. And, you know, that is what it is. Speaks for itself. I want to bring up another Undertaker memory. And I brought it up on the show before, but since we're doing a show about The Undertaker, I want to talk about it. And Aaron was there. the Undertaker feud with CM Punk happened to coincide with the passing of Paul Bearer.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but during this time, in 2013, it holds a special place for me because this was the first live pro wrestling event I ever took my wife to.
Okay.
And she was, when we started dating, when I was introducing her to wrestling, I was like, all right, how do I introduce this girl to pro wrestling? I mean, what better character to introduce her to than The Undertaker? So, I got out my Undertaker whatever compilation DVD or whatever, and that was how I introduced Kendall to wrestling. So, immediately, obviously, she's an Undertaker and Kane fan. So the first wrestling show I got to take her to live was Raw, and it was the Raw in 2013 after Paul Bearer died. So ironically, God rest his soul, Paul Bearer gave me a gift and gave her a gift because that was a super, and Aaron was there with me, that was a super heavy, rare at that time, by the way, Undertaker and Kane Monday Night Raw. Very awesome event to be to. Very awesome for a personal reason and a fan reason.
And we got to watch Undertaker come out after it went off the air and do the
tribute.
Hit the one knee to the William Moody whatever rest in peace thing. Fucking cool.
And of course, take her and put their match at WrestleMania 29, which is really good. And now we get to the point where I think if you were going to do it, it should have been it. And I respect The Undertaker, and I respect Vince McMahon, and I respect Brock Lesnar. They gave the streak to Brock, but they didn't end The Undertaker's career. And guys, I want to ask this, and this is my final question for the show. You guys can elaborate on any other questions you have or any other history of The Undertaker you have. And there's been things since, but to me, it really stopped at WrestleMania 30. Because after you've ended the streak, what more is there you can do? And they have done other things. I understand that.
No, the WrestleMania 30 should have been the end of The Undertaker.
Yes, it should have been, because after that, it's just
gaga.
You bury Bray Wyatt to him, which if you were going to let Brock beat him, then he shouldn't have been beating anybody at WrestleMania anymore.
And
then Roman.
Sorry.
You go ahead, Aaron. I'm just saying, you let guys like Brock and Roman beat him, but not a guy like Bray Wyatt who could have used it. And
what I was gonna say was, you guys were talking about like, oh, now this thing's gonna move into a WrestleMania thing. Like, I think when Taker lost to Brock, they should have just been like, oh, Taker's done now. Cool. And that's the way you're supposed to go out, no matter who you are in professional wrestling. You go out by being pinned, and you're done. If they're going to bring him back for Survivor Series, I don't want him back at fucking WrestleMania. Bring him back at Survivor Series, and I'd put this in my notes, and you guys are going to be like, oh, fuck off, whatever. Bring him back at Survivor Series in the black hat, the gray tie, the gray gloves. Let Bruce bring him out. Let him win. I know I said the guy should go out, but let him win. Let him walk off, and then be done with it. I don't want to see The Undertaker. I didn't even want to see The Undertaker in the Survivor Series thing. But let this be the end of it.
Anybody, give me a show that jumped the shark.
A show that jumped the shark?
Yeah, like give me a show that was really, really fucking good, and it just jumped the shark.
WrestleMania 17.
Not wrestling, Kyle.
Oh.
That's why I was hesitant to answer.
No, I'm sorry.
Show
I'm
that
sorry.
jumped
A
the
TV
shark.
show that jumped the shark.
The West Wing.
Okay.
Family Guy.
Wow, Kyle, I was going to say The Simpsons.
Well, at WrestleMania 30,
The West Wing jumped the shark. I'm sorry.
well, I was going to say, Aaron, you're right. The West Wing jumped the shark when they started doing the Jimmy Smits, running for president stuff. But essentially, any show that you can think of that jumped the shark, but still kept going another 3, 4, 5 seasons. Cheers. Once Ted Danson and Shelley Long hooked up, Cheers jumped the shark, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they brought that fatty in there.
Anything past WrestleMania 30 for The Undertaker is Undertaker's Kirstie Alley. Like it's not that it's not good.
Oh God, they.
No, seriously though, and I'm not being disrespectful, but it's not that it's not good.
I like
but
the
it's
fact
not
that
the
they picked up my
same.
Kirstie Alley comment.
It's not the same.
Like,
does that make sense? Like, am I off base?
I get it. I get exactly what you mean.
Ever since WrestleMania 30, wrestling has not been able to rebound because.
That's for us guys. I know that. I know absolutely. I think for us guys, that is when wrestling really met its plateau.
See, and it's interesting.
It's like when they tried to bring Seven into fucking Married with Children. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It doesn't work.
With WrestleMania 17, when Austin shook Vince's hand, people were like, well, that's fucking it. I'm done. And this was the second one where once Taker got beat, people were like, well, that's fucking it. Because you have nothing else anymore, you know? Like, yeah, we had Daniel Bryan win, but, like, that was not very long for the world. And, you know, the casual fan isn't going to come back.
I was okay with him. I mean, I wasn't okay with him losing, but after a little while and the shock wearing off, I was like, okay, it's Brock Lesnar. Watching the 5-part miniseries for him on the network, and where he explains that the reason he hasn't retired yet is because he's waiting for that moment to ride off into the sunset. I think had WrestleMania 30 gone better, and what I mean by that is immediately after their match was over, reports went out that The Undertaker had to be taken away in an ambulance. Had they not let those reports get out and made him look weak, like Brock actually hurt him, I don't think he would have had a problem retiring after that. In the same regard, his match with Goldberg in Saudi Arabia was trash. His match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels with Kane was trash in Saudi Arabia. Whenever he thought he found his defining moment to finally end his career, like Shawn Michaels had his defining moment against The Undertaker. He didn't have to come out of retirement if he didn't want to.
And you know what?
You know,
Archie?
Yeah.
He never did for me because I never watched that match.
I think Nate died.
No, I agree with what you're saying. Flair had his defining moment when HBK goes, I love you, I'm sorry. That was the end of Flair. All these guys are waiting for that one moment, except for Hulk Hogan. He's always in the moment. But it just, The Undertaker always, if Vince McMahon calls him, he said it on that show, on that miniseries, and during the Broken Skull Ranch and, other shows. If Vince calls him and says, I need you, he feels it's time to suit up and to go to work.
I think that you're going to see at least 2 more matches for Undertaker.
I agree.
I think you'll see him probably at Survivor Series. But I think he may not be at WrestleMania, but I think that they will have him whenever there's a live crowd allowed back. I think they want to give that to him to him to go out in front of a crowd.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So I want to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
To wrap up 30 years of Undertaker, which this has been a great show. Thank you. You guys have been on point tonight. But to wrap up 30 years of Undertaker, I want to go around the horn, and I want to know if he is going to do one last match at WrestleMania. Because, I mean, I've stated my opinion that at WrestleMania 30, when he lost to Brock, that should have been it.
I agree.
However, we have to deal with the reality. As a fan, if Survivor Series is setting up him to have a final match at Mania, which I'm okay with, whatever, it is what it is. Who do you guys think it should be against? And I'll start with Kyle.
In all honesty,
he has to lose, by the way, because you have to go out on your back.
I think the only guy as of right now that could have the match that Undertaker deserves is AJ Styles. Because you're going to need somebody, and I understand the Fiend and everything else. In a perfect world, if Taker was older or younger, then maybe you can make a case for the Fiend. But the problem is that you're going to need somebody who's like Shawn was, that can work around the Undertaker. And I think the only person I can see right now on that roster is AJ Styles that could really hide Taker's weaknesses.
Archie?
Selfishly, I want it to be the Fiend because after WrestleMania 30, The Undertaker beat Bray Wyatt soundly.
You guys fucking see me?
Yes, we could calm down. Why are you so mad, man?
I was like lost for a second. Sorry.
Oh no,
Did you
you
hear
got
my
lost in the
question?
Matrix. What's that?
Aaron, did you hear my question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, selfishly, I'd like it to be the Fiend because at WrestleMania 31, he soundly beat Bray Wyatt, and I'd like him to give Bray a boost up and help the character if he's going to have to lose. If he's allowed to win, then I'd like it to, I guess I'd have to want to see it be someone like AJ Styles again because AJ doesn't lose anything. Or maybe another monster. Maybe a Lars Sullivan or a Braun Strowman,
Aaron, who do you think, if Taker's going to do Mania this year, and we can have our disagreements about whether it's good or a terrible idea or whatever, but if that's the goal,
like you're telling me whether you're the boss, and I told you that Survivor Series should be the end of it, but okay, whatever.
I want to do my swan song at WrestleMania for this guy, and I want it to be the best it can be.
Who's he going to work and lose to?
Yep.
Drew McIntyre.
Not a bad choice.
Not a bad choice at all. I mean, anybody that listens to the show knows that I think Drew's the future of the business.
And the reason could I say my reason?
Yeah.
My reason would be he how do I want to say it? Looks the part, would probably be the guy you have in your company that's the biggest star that wouldn't look like a fucking midget in the goddamn ring with him. Mm-hmm. The only guy that wouldn't look like a fucking midget in the ring with him that I could even compare him to would be that Damian Priest guy, and I fucking hate him. I don't like Damian Priest. I just think that Drew would have the best program with the guy, would be able to cut the better promos on him, and it would be the most believable thing. Like, of all the people on your goddamn roster, if you're telling me I have the WWE right now, who would stack up with The Undertaker, Drew McIntyre.
All great choices. And mine is going to be shit upon, I'm pretty sure. And that's fine. I want your opinions. I think, and this goes against a lot of things that I say about wrestling, but this is, to me, a different situation. Normally, when a legend is fading away and it's time for him to go, he passes the torch and et cetera, et cetera. And I go back to WrestleMania 30. Being honest, guys, Taker already passed the torch to Lesnar. Okay? And just hear me out. It's a unique situation. He already passed the torch to Brock Lesnar when he gave up the streak.
Dink?
No. He already passed the torch to Lesnar when he gave up the streak. And like I said, after that, to me, it kind of jumped the shark and et cetera, et cetera. But if I'm the booker of this company, the way it's been booked, the stories that have been told, I'm taking everything existing in a notebook and looking at it. At WrestleMania, what is this, 37?
Mm-hmm.
At WrestleMania 37 in April, The Undertaker loses 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, hangs it all up, and the guy that beats him is John Cena. Because
John Cena can't. He's lost to
because money talks. Because what is the story that has never been defined with these guys? They have teased this, and they did that thing where Taker came out. What was it? WrestleMania 30 something or other.
3, I think.
And they did the little 4-minute thing or whatever. But they have teased this, and it's been anticipated. And I think that, again, because I said Taker already passed the torch. This is unconventional. This is something that is out of the norm from a dramatic standpoint, which this character is the most endearing dramatic character in wrestling history. He has to lose to John Cena in a real match at WrestleMania to end it.
But because
love him or hate him, Cena is the biggest star of his generation.
But John Cena right now is stuck in a 5-dimensional plateau. Because he lost that match to Bray Wyatt that was crazy as fuck, and he's never come back.
But Cena, I know. Yeah,
I'm just fucking with you.
I know. But does anybody want to either agree with me or see what I'm saying or shit on what I'm saying?
He'd be the second best choice.
I don't want to shit on what you're saying. I would never do that. But the reason I respectfully disagree is because I don't know how they would get there. And what I mean by that is, okay, The Undertaker comes out at Survivor Series. He says his goodbyes. You would almost have to have Cena come out and be disrespectful.
Yes. And that's
push
how
him
you
over
get
the
that.
edge.
Okay. That's how you get there, Archie. Is there any better John Cena?
You put that wrinkle on it and let Cena roast him.
Right.
Yeah, is there any better John Cena than a heel John Cena?
Right, because it would make sense because the Fiend changes people, so now you have that instance of it's the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena. Okay, great.
John, when he would rap and just be John, is fantastic.
No, I'm not shitting on the Cena character. Even if he came back as a face, that wouldn't be a problem either. It's just I think fans would. Like you said that it has to be someone who can carry the Undertaker to a good match, and I'm not saying Cena wouldn't be able to, but I just think there might be a botch or two that would make the match look sloppy and not give him the farewell he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
I think Drew would be able to carry him to a cleaner, better match. or even a Roman Reigns, which Roman beat him already at WrestleMania, but it would make sense for Roman to walk out during that ceremony when the Undertaker says his goodbyes and say, remember, I said this is my yard now, and be disrespectful.
Honestly, Nate, one of the only reasons I didn't bring up Cena was because I was thinking you were telling me, hey, these are the guys that I have on my roster, and John's not on the roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, I mean, even though he's not on the roster, he still is. He's kind of like
I know, but I was just going with. I was just going.
If we're talking a WrestleMania payday, he's on the roster.
I know. I was just going with current guys you were talking about.
I understand.
But if you're gonna have Cena Taker, let Hogan referee it. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, to I guess hammer.
Fucking Pedro's the ring bell guy.
I mean, they're talking about Rock Roman, so Taker and Cena would not be a bad idea. But if you're going to give us those two matches, then you might as well give us Austin and Hogan, and let us,
let us watch them hobble around.
Just let us see the three matches we've been wanting. Then
I think the problem.
Figure out who hit their wife harder.
Jesus. Oh God.
I think the problem we're going to run into is it all is going to depend on what happens with COVID, because if they can be in that fucking huge stadium and they even have a chance of breaking the attendance record, then yeah, they're going to throw all the stops in. But the way things are looking right now, I don't see that happening.
The main event of WrestleMania is Rey Mysterio and Murphy.
Oh God!
You can edit out that wife joke, please.
But wait,
I'm not gonna.
But wait, hold on. Wait a minute though. Why wouldn't Dominic get a WrestleMania moment too? If we're going with Rey Mysterio and Murphy. I watched
that John Cena Make-A-Wish shit coming out.
I watched SmackDown in a record-setting 22 minutes this week.
Archie's on my level at this point.
I fast-forwarded through.
It's like me and
90%
AEW.
of it. I only watched the main event, and when it got time to listen to Rey Mysterio talk and the Rey Mysterio Seth Rollins match, I went by it. I didn't even care who won.
You know what's funny?
What?
Midgets running.
The state of pro wrestling?
Yeah. Maybe it's not.
I like midgets running.
There was a time where AEW's show was like 44 minutes for me because of MJF. But now that he's involved in that fucking clown show with Jericho, now AEW really for me is just Cody Rhodes, John Moxley, and Eddie Kingston. Yeah. And then I'm out.
and Kingston was a little weird this week. I love Eddie, but that promo was like, geez, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it was a little rambly.
And
I want the NWA back.
This is my best friend. This is my best friend. Okay, we get it. You and Pentagon are best friends. Okay.
Like I don't give a shit what Brian Last says. Like he was talking about how hokey the NWA was. The NWA.
No, the NWA was everything. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys are watching the United Wrestling, that thing that NWA has actually been a part of
on Fight TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It's watchable.
It's watchable. It's at least if you want to see Nick Aldis and the guys that were in NWA actually still wrestle.
My problem, and I don't want to knock it, and because I watch ROH too, but it's really hard to watch wrestling without a crowd.
It really is. It really is. It gets when you just see pitch black. It's like okay,
it's a little rough.
And the piped in noise is weird. With the boos and the cheers.
And that's what I respected about ROH is they didn't do that.
You know what? Right. I can deal with the piped in noise. I can't, however, deal with the piped in.
You did it in 1990 for Saturday Night's Main Event.
Yeah, but that was different.
I can't deal with the good wrestling awesome chance or the holy shit chants that are just out of
Well,
nowhere.
all right. SmackDown. Sasha Banks comes out to cut a promo, and they have piped-in booing. Sasha Banks is the face. Bayley begins to come out, and they go for massive booing. And then here comes Carmella, and everybody cheered. I think they have somebody running the sound stage a little weird. You know what I mean?
No, it's Vince's fucking favorite thing now. He can pick and choose who he wants to be the fucking good guys and the bad guys, and nobody can save him.
I would cheer for Bailey's booty. She has a nice ass.
I don't know if any of you watch SmackDown, but Sasha and Carmella were dressed really nice. Really nice.
I like Bailey's booty.
You know what?
Well, when she turns around and hits you in the head with that Jay Leno chin, I don't know if you're going to like it too much.
Let me tell you guys, I'm a geek. Well, everybody that listens to the show knows, and my co-hosts definitely know. Mm-hmm. And you know that I think you know that I think everybody knows I think Sasha's the best women's wrestler in the business.
I agree.
And
you can show the Thunderdome on her forehead.
And that's fine. Yeah. She did a really good job acting in The Mandalorian as well this week.
I haven't watched the episode yet, but I'm busting to see it.
Nate, I forgot to bring your album.
That's all right. It's cool. I forgot to bring your money. All right, guys. I'm going to give everybody a chance to wrap up here. We're going to wrap up this edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast, which, by the way, has been a great episode. Thank you all for bringing it. And
you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
I'll give Mr. Mitchell the first opportunity to wrap up here tonight.
No cheap plugs, except for if you're not a member of the We Can't Wrestle podcast Facebook group or YouTube channel.
What the fuck are you waiting for?
Exactly. The Undertaker has been a part of my life since I've been 9 years old, and I'm happy to see him get, if it's a send-off and the respect he deserves, thank you. And if it's another match, I just hope that it's what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to see that they're ending it, if they are ending it, at the Survivor Series where he was born.
Kyle?
Look, everybody's probably going to say something about The Undertaker, and he's great, but I wanted to say that be friendly to each other. Quit fucking acting like that you're the best and you're the greatest and acting like shitholes to each other. For fuck's sakes, we're all in this together, guys.
Shitholes.
It's not... Well, it's the truth, though. I mean, like, between everything that's going on with the whole COVID thing, and then even in, like, I mentioned to these guys earlier, like, with the whole collecting aspect of the pro wrestling thing, people are acting like little fucking kids. Like, realize that, you know, we're all in this together, and show some love to each other.
You fucking shitholes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why Kyle called me a little fucking kid.
Oh, I didn't call you a little kid.
I'm joking, man.
I didn't call you. You're the fucking one of the best and the greatest guys that is on these groups and everything. Like, there's nobody, in my opinion, that does it better. But like I said, when I see people,
except me.
Okay.
Okay. Carl with the last dagger of the night. Okay.
But other than that, I love you guys. Be good to each other, like I said.
Assalamu alaikum. Aaron?
Oscar Bacon.
Did you say Yasser Arafat Bacon?
No, I said Oscar Mayer Bacon. Come on, you guys got to give me that one.
No longer am I editing any of this.
We need to do a watch along.
You guys got to give me the You're a Dead Man Ramsey. Nate, give it to me.
Golf clap.
We need to do a watch.
Brings it all back to Mark Calloway. That's the best.
Can we please do a watch along of Suburban Commando?
No.
Why?
I ain't watching that.
Everybody was like, no.
No. Please no.
You're going
I'll
to
miss
watch that
episode.
shit alone
in
the shower by yourself.
I guarantee you I'll
And
be sick
Kyle-
for that episode.
Kyle, I will record the audio and it could be a podcast.
It would be great to watch that.
You're a dead man.
I promise you I will be sick for the episode we watched Suburban Commando.
Oh, you guys are shitting on Suburban Commando, but come on.
I'll shit on No Holds Barred too. That movie
That's a
sucked.
fucking Suburban Commando is a fucking Hulk Hogan classic.
I'm gonna drop a Zeus on that one.
Beefcake Barber. All right. Signing off. Check out the 2300 pod, in which Aaron, Chad Austin from ECW, and myself are chronicling the history from the beginning of ECW to the end of Extreme, and it is a fun journey so far, and it is great. Check it out right now as we speak. Episode 10 is up and ready for your listening pleasure. And that being said, we're going to sign off this week for the Undertaker 30th anniversary edition of the We Can't Wrestle podcast.
We really talked about it for like 20 minutes.
It has been a great show. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, my co-hosts. I appreciate you all as usual. And
I appreciate me too. Thanks, man.
We will see you next time around on I'm a Joe McHugh. The We Can't Wrestle podcast. Joe McHugh reference. You like that, Aaron?
Yes,
and I'm Joe McHugh.
You're a dead man, Ramsey.